Okay, good evening, everyone. Welcome to our promotion ceremony for the Teaneck police officers and for our DPW employees. This is always a pleasure for me to promote officers or DPW workers or town employees to the next level. The people that you're seeing here today, the members of the police department and DPW, these are the individuals that work really hard for you. They're the individuals that keep us safe, keep our roads clean, and keep the town in appropriate working order. So I just want to say thank you to each and every one of you. We appreciate everything you do, and I'd like everyone to give them a hand for everything that they do. What I'd like to do is I'd like to change the script just a little bit, and I want to start with DPW first, since we're not going to be swearing them. If the PD could just step to the side just a little bit, and let us have Fran, if you'd come in. Yeah, come on in, everyone. If we can. These are the guys that do a magnificent job with keeping the roads clean. I know that everybody must realize when you come to Teaneck in the winter, the roads are clean. They are plowed to perfection. And these are the guys that do it. These are the guys that take care of landscaping, fix the vehicles, make sure our sewers run properly. These guys work very hard, and they deserve these promotions. So I'm going to call out their names and give you just a little bit of information on them. John Fields. John is being promoted this evening to Supervisor of Public Works. He has served in the Department of Public Works for 25 years, starting in 1988. John currently serves as an Assistant Supervisor. He previously held the position of Maintenance Repairer, Truck Driver, and Equipment Operator. For the last several years, John has been in charge of running the Roads Division, which consists of recycling and garden debris pickup, sanitation, leaf and snow removal, and the sign department. John has been one of the key components in enhancing the new recycling and leaf removal programs. John and Rick Mers Jr. were the two employees who were instrumental in setting up the new sign-making machine with the sign division. Congratulations, Mr. Fields. Sean Bain. Sean is being promoted this evening to Assistant Supervising Mechanic. He has served in the Department of Public Works for 10 years, starting in 2004. Sean currently serves as a mechanic. His wife, Dina, is in attendance this evening. Where is she? All right. Sean has been the acting assistant supervisor for the past several years. Who takes great pride in his work. He has increased the productivity in the garage division with his leadership and skills and expertise. Sean is certified in diesel engine rebuilding for Mack, Caterpillar, International, and Detroit Engines. He is also ASE certified in diesel engines, air brakes, and air conditioning. Congratulations, Mr. Bain. And we have Edward Javier. Edward is being promoted this evening to Equipment Operator. He has served in the Department of Public Works for 3 years, starting in 2011. Edward currently serves as a truck driver. His wife, Joanna, is here. All right, there she is. And his children, Eddie Jr. and Isabella. Edward was the individual responsible for the landscape design at Town Hall, Police Headquarters, and Public Works. He assisted this past leaf season with the operation of the front-end loader. Edward was also one of the lead workers in the renovation of the softball fields at Ammon Park. Congratulations, Mr. Javier. And the last individual we have is Stephen Toms, and he couldn't be here this evening. Stephen's being promoted this evening to equipment operator. He has served in the Department of Public Works for 4 years, starting in 2010. Stephen currently serves as a truck driver. He assisted the past leaf season with the operation of the front-end loader. He is a team player who has done an excellent job in filling whatever role is asked of him. Stephen has the ability to operate all of the equipment within the Public Works Department. So congratulations to Mr. Thomas.
I just want to congratulate these 4 guys tonight. They are a very important part of the organization down there. They're heavily relied on. And as always, when you get promoted, you have a little bit more responsibility, which I'm sure you'll be welcoming that with open arms. I wish you the best in the future.
I just want to take this opportunity to congratulate you on your promotion, but also to thank you and also Fran for keeping our streets clean, especially during snow emergencies as we head into the winter season. Unfortunately, the Farmer's Almanac says differently, but I just want to thank you for all of your hard work. Many times we only look at our emergency personnel, but you guys are so important and an intricate part of our township. I just want to thank you for all the work that you do.
Mr. Manager. William. Yeah, I'd like to echo the mayor's comments and William, your comments. We really have a dedicated, and I'm not speaking to the DPW workers here because they know that, and certainly the township employees that get to interact with them know that. But we really have I'm speaking to the residents that are home and some of the faces that are here new that may not be realize what a dedicated DPW we do have. And when we talk about, we keep echoing about how clean our streets are, that's because we as elected officials during snow season specifically get comments from so many of our neighboring elected officials of how do we do it. It's not like Teaneck has better snow or special snow, but we do somehow a much better job than cleaning up than some of our neighboring towns. And people know when they're in Teaneck and people know when they leave Teaneck because of the difference of the snow cleaning, and that's what our residents are looking for when it comes to the quality of their life, and also for safety. So I want to thank you very much. I want to thank, and I'll say this thank you again also after the police promotions, but thank the family members that are here that have sacrificed in order for your family members to be here to spend the holidays on the road in a plow, sweeping, picking up people's recyclables. And let me tell you, Teaneck, we are one very busy town on recycling. And even when we weren't picking up, people were going down in droves to the DPW facility. So thank you very much to the DPW workers. Don't think that your hard work goes unnoticed or unappreciated. We really do appreciate it, and we're sorry that this is the time that we get to tell you publicly and tell the family members publicly how much we do appreciate it.
I'll jump right in. I wanted to just thank you. There's nothing worse than that Sunday afternoon line at the DPW, out the gates, carrying the buckets. So to know that every other Monday for me, you guys are coming there, it's great. It really helps my family. I think, and no disrespect to Mr. Tesser, I think I have the most recycling on the block. I always look up and down to make sure I win it every other Monday. So I thank you guys. Also, I've had a few friends that moved to Bergenfield, and I love nothing more on those snowstorms when they complain on Facebook about the Bergenfield roads, and I love it, and I get to stick it to them, and I appreciate that because you guys make that happen. Thank you.
Any other members of council?
Yeah. You know, Teaneck is a model town for New Jersey and other places. And when you start looking at what is really important, you have to start from the ground up. And these guys make sure that everything goes well from the township in terms of maintenance and taking care of business. And I really appreciate the fact that you work so hard, and we will try to give you as much work as you can take along the way.
I just want to echo the sentiments of my colleagues on the council. We really appreciate and we're very lucky to have you guys serving our town. And it's not just the snow removal that they do a great job. It's also the leaf removal. We have a lot of leaves that fall. Teaneck is a tree city, and you guys do a tremendous job in our leaf removal also, as well as just tree maintenance, taking care of our parks, basically. And like I always said, there was a lot of positive feedback that we got back after Superstorm Sandy and the storms that we went through with all the trees. 127 trees, I think it was one storm that you had to remove in like 5 weeks. And all I could say was we have a tremendous DPW and a tremendous staff who gets the job done for us. So on behalf of my family and the residents of Teaneck, thank you so much.
I'll say this. First and foremost, congratulations. Second, we can see the work that you do, right? And I got to say that in this really interesting season of snow and leaves falling and so on and so forth, I can only speak for the residents on my block. It has snowed, leaves have fallen, and the leaves have been picked up, I think, 3 times on Maple Street. 3 times in 5. Maybe it's 5. I was present for 3, but I can tell you that to be able to hit a street that many times in a township this large, you're not going to hear it all the time from the residents. You're not going to hear it from the ones who are gaining a parking space because those leaves are being picked up and they can park there. You're not going to hear it when you're picking up recycling. You're not going to hear it from them on a daily basis, but from my family, from the residents of my block, from the people who come to me and say, "This is great. I want you to know that they are very much in appreciation of your service. Thank you for what you do, and keep doing it, and congratulations again."
As a resident, it's very easy to take for granted the work that the DPW does. I live right around the corner from the DPW. I see the work that the department does, and living so near to Bergenfield, New Milford, River Edge, Hackensack, to see that comparison, to see the edge that Teaneck has over our surrounding municipalities, and to see the dedication that our DP workers have to maintain our township, to keep it up, to keep it going, keep going. And again, I sincerely hope that the snow stays up. Again, that we have to plow as infrequently as possible, especially in this budget season. And again, thank you for all your work to date and all your work going forward.
Jamie?
I just wanted to say that there's what most people don't know is that your publicized successes, other than the beautification of the township and the maintenance for both departments and all your contributions, a lot of the successes that people don't see is what you do for the other departments. And I just want to tell you from the bottom of my heart that if it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't be a success, and neither would my colleagues. And I thank you.
Gentlemen, thank you very much, and congratulations. Good luck in your new positions. Okay, next we have members of the police department. We're going to start with 3 sergeants. Okay, and we also we're going to start with the 3 sergeants. And in the right order. Okay. And each of the members of the police department, I'm going to swear them in. And now that you switched, I got to switch again. Okay. Okay, we're going to start with Zoraida Martinez. Officer Martinez is being promoted tonight to sergeant. Officer Martinez has served in the Teaneck Police Department for 18 years, starting in 1996. She has served in the Detective Bureau, Community Policing, and General Investigations. Her daughter, Caitlin, and fiancé, Stephen, are here this evening. Officer Martinez is fluent in Spanish and facilitated the Citizens and Junior Police Academy. She has received numerous commendations throughout her career in the Teaneck Police Department. Officer Martinez is an asset to the General Investigations Unit as she helps close many difficult investigations. Congratulations. Do you have a member of your family you want to come up to hold the Bible for you? Okay, can you have them come up? If there's other family members for the other two sergeants, please make your way up if you're going to be holding the Bible. Place your left hand on the Bible, raise your right hand. Other way. I state your name. Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same and the governments established in the United States and in this state under the authority of the people, and that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly perform all the duties of the office of Police Sergeant according to the best of my ability, so help me God. Congratulations, Sergeant. Next, we have Officer Kim Johnson. Officer Johnson is being promoted tonight to Sergeant. Officer Johnson has served in the Teaneck Police Department for 20 years, starting in 1994. She has served in community policing and as a school resource officer at Teaneck High School. Her mother, Shirley, daughter, Asia, sisters Deborah and Karen, and nephew Nathan are in attendance. Thank you. Officer Johnson was also facilitator of the Citizens and Junior Police Academy. She has received numerous commendations throughout her career in the Teaneck Police Department. Officer Johnson excels in the areas of oral communication and interaction with the public and treats the public with patience and compassion. Congratulations. I state your name. Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same and to the governments established in the United States and in this state under the authority of the people, and that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly perform all the duties of the office of Police Sergeant according to the best of my ability. So help me God. Congratulations. Okay. Good idea. Okay, next we have Jeanette Williams. Officer Williams is being promoted tonight to Sergeant. Officer Williams has served in the Teaneck Police Department. Hold on. That's correct. For 18 years. I can't believe she's been there 18 years. I thought that was wrong. She has served in community policing as a DARE officer and as a detective in the Juvenile Bureau. Her mother, Martha, brother Michael, who I know, sorry, there he is, godmother Grace, and spouse Lois, along with many other family members and friends are in attendance this evening. Officer Williams was also a facilitator of the Citizens and Junior Police Academy. She is also a domestic violence trainer and specializes in interviewing techniques of young children. Officer Williams has received numerous commendations during her career with the Teaneck Police Department. Congratulations, Sergeant. I state your name.
I, Jeanette Williams,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the State of New Jersey,
of the State of New Jersey,
that I will bear true faith
that I will bear true faith
and allegiance to the same
and allegiance to the same
and to the governments established
and to the governments established
in the United States
in the United States
and in this state
and in this state
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
and that I will faithfully,
and that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly
and justly
perform all the duties
of the office
of police sergeant
of police sergeant
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Sergeant.
If I could just take a moment of personal privilege just to say how honored I am. When I first started on the council, there was an issue of having minorities in ranking officers, in ranking positions on the police force. But to swear in 3 women this evening, that deserves a round of applause. I just wish them, yes. I just wish them all the best in their positions and being safe, and I look forward to watching them rise up the rank.
Okay, next we have Scott Tesser. Sergeant Tesser is being promoted to lieutenant. Sergeant Tesser has served in the Teaneck Police Department for 13 years, starting in 2001, and has held the position of patrol officer, community policing officer, and detective of the Juvenile Bureau, Traffic Bureau, Community Policing Squad, and Motor Patrol. He has served as sergeant of various bureaus in 2010. His father, Steve, mother, Judy, wife, Renee, children, Braden, Logal, and Peyton, and mother-in-law, Sue, are in attendance. Sergeant Tesser is a recipient of the prestigious Distinguished Service Award from the Bergen County 200 Club in 2011. Sergeant Tesser has received numerous commendations throughout his career with the Teaneck Police Department. He is also a departmental domestic violence training officer. Congratulations, Sergeant. I state your name.
I, Scott Tesser,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the State of New Jersey,
of the State of New Jersey,
that I will bear true faith
that I will bear true faith
and allegiance to the same
and allegiance to the same
and to the governments
and to the governments
established in the United States
established in the United States
and in this state
and in this state
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
and that I will faithfully,
and that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly
and justly
perform all the duties
of the office
of the office
of police lieutenant
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations. Okay, next we have John Fagello. Lieutenant Fagello is being promoted tonight to captain. It's a big move. When you make captain, that's a big move. It's a big move. It's going upstairs. Lieutenant Figello has served in the Teaneck Police Department for 21 years, starting in 1993, and has held the positions of patrol officer, detective of Narcotics Bureau, and burglary squad, sergeant of the Detective Bureau and Motor Patrol, and lieutenant of Motor Patrol. He has served in the Traffic Bureau since 2010. His mother Carol, sister Lisa, brother Stephen, and his wife Karen, and their children Jake and Julia, and his girlfriend Melissa, and her parents David and Beatrice are in attendance this evening. Lieutenant Figello has received numerous commendations throughout his career with TPD. He has also been involved in the day-to-day operation of traffic and other police-related matters within the township. He also supervises officers, sergeants, parking enforcement officers, and school coursing guards. Lieutenant Figello is also a member of the Teaneck Police Department's Honor Guard. Congratulations. I state your name.
I, John Figello,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the State of New Jersey,
of the State of New Jersey,
that I will bear true faith
that I will bear true faith
and allegiance to the same
and allegiance to the same
and to the governments
and to the governments
established in the United States
and
in this state
and in this state
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
and that I will faithfully,
impartially, and justly
perform all the duties
of the office
of
police captain
according to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God. Congratulations. Actually, he's here with his girlfriend, not his wife and girlfriend. All right. All right. I was confused when I read it. All right, so, okay, we have Glenn O'Reilly. Captain O'Reilly is being promoted tonight to Deputy Chief. Captain O'Reilly has served in the Teaneck Police Department for 23 years, starting in 1991, and has held the position of Patrol Officer, Sergeant of Motor Patrol, Lieutenant of Motor Patrol, Lieutenant of the Training Bureau, Lieutenant of the Detective Bureau. He has served as Captain of the Investigative Division since 2010. His wife, Kellyanne, children Michael, Cora, Cullen, and Finn, parents Jean and Elaine, and siblings Denise, Kim, and Lieutenant Tim O'Reilly of Teaneck PD are in attendance. Right. Captain O'Reilly is a graduate of the New Jersey State Association of Chiefs of Police Command and Leadership Academy and a graduate of the FBI Law Enforcement Executive Directors Association, 47th Command Institute for Law Enforcement Executives. His grandfather, Gene O'Reilly, is a retired Teaneck police captain who served from 1940 to 1973, and his father also served in the Teaneck Police Department as well. Congratulations. I state your name.
I, Glenn O'Reilly,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the State of New Jersey,
of the State of New Jersey,
that I will bear true faith
that I will bear true faith
and allegiance to the same
and allegiance to the same
and to the governments
and to the governments
established in the United States
established in the United States
and in this state
and in this state
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
and that I will faithfully,
and that I will faithfully,
impartially,
and justly
perform all the duties
perform all the duties
of the office of
Deputy Police Chief
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations. Retired Chief Wilson, can you join us up here, please? Okay, next we have Robert Carney. And I'm going to tell you what's a great thing here. Many of the people that I promoted here are Teaneck kids. They've gone through the school system, they've lived here, they know what Teaneck is about, and they're dedicated to Teaneck, whether they live here or not. These are Teaneck kids. This is a Teaneck kid that we promoted. Terhune Street, somewhere around there? Terhune Street, he grew up on. All right, went to Teaneck High School. Robert Carney. Deputy Chief Carney is being promoted tonight to Police Chief. Deputy Chief Carney has served in the Teaneck Police Department for 26 years, starting in 1988, and has held the positions of Patrol Officer, Sergeant of Motor Patrol, Sergeant of Traffic Bureau, Lieutenant of Traffic Bureau, and Captain of Operations. He has served as acting police chief since March 20th, 2014. His wife Lori, daughter Christian, step-parents Helen and Dean, and his brother-in-law Bill and sister-in-law Sue are in attendance this evening. Thank you for coming. Deputy Chief Carney's leadership in the Traffic Bureau included critical input on the traffic engineering design of all major construction projects within the township. As an assistant department head, he provided guidance and the necessary follow-up to ensure that many projects were underway and significant investigations were being conducted and completed in a manner consistent with the organization's standards. Congratulations, Chief Carney. State your name.
I, Robert Carney,
Do solemnly swear
that
I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the State of New Jersey,
of the State of New Jersey,
that I will bear true faith
that I will bear true faith
and allegiance to the same
and allegiance to the same,
and to the governments
established in the United States
and in this state
and in this state,
under the authority of the people,
and that I will faithfully,
impartially,
and justly
perform all the duties
of
the office of Police Chief for the Township of Teaneck, according to the best of my ability. So help me God. Congratulations. Okay. All right. Chief Carney?
I'd just like to thank Manager Broughton and the council for the opportunity to lead one of the finest police departments in the state. I'd like to thank Chief Wilson for giving me the opportunity to be his deputy chief, and not only giving me the chance to succeed, but more importantly, helping me succeed. I'd like to thank my wife Lori and my children, Kevin and Kristen, for their continued support and understanding. Mostly, I'd like to thank all the officers that I've worked with over the past 26 years. I began my career with the township in 1988, joining a police department which bears little resemblance to the department of today. That department was one in which officers were driven by quotas and strict law enforcement. We've come a long way since those days. Today, we're a full-service police department working with our diverse community to improve their quality of life. Whether our officers are conducting a child safety seat inspection, conducting an emergency preparedness seminar, or enforcing the law, they're committed to providing these services with honor, integrity, and respect. To be appointed chief of these men and women is truly an honor and a privilege. I have confidence in this community and its police officers. Together, we can achieve great things. Thank you.
Chief, some parting words? Some encouraging words?
We should put his badge on first.
You can have the honor of putting his badge on. Well, you don't stick him. Any comments, Chief?
I won't hold you very long because I know everybody's been here for a long time tonight. I do want to congratulate everybody in here, and most importantly the families, for all the sacrifices that you've made over the years in dealing with these men and women. But I really think the real benefactor of all these promotions, besides the officers that are getting promoted, the benefactor is the community. And I really mean that. It sounds corny, but the reality is everybody in this room really cares. You really don't realize, I think many of the residents don't realize how beneficial they are to have such a great police force that really cares and doing things the right way, not just, doing the job and just getting out of here. They really care about how they do the job. They spend great amount of time trying to make things better in this community and do the best they can for the community. So I think you should all be very grateful to the men and women that you have here that you're promoting today. Thank you.
I'll keep my remarks brief, but I just wanted to say congratulations to you all this evening. I wish you well and much success in your careers. Thank you to your families for your sacrifice and for allowing them to serve the residents of Teaneck. I just have to ask you, did you ever dream when you were growing up on Turner Street that you would be the chief of police?
I always wanted to be a police officer. I always thought that if I retired and I'd be very happy. I had no idea.
Well, we wish you much success in your new position. We look forward to good things from the police department under your leadership. We look forward to continued partnership with the community and expanding community policing, and really building strong relationships. Thank you to your family for the sacrifice, and just thank you and congratulations.
William. I'm not going to keep my remarks brief, so everyone get comfortable. Really, today is really a wonderful day for Teaneck, and that is the truth. We've elevated professionals into new, and by the way, I remember when everybody came on with the exception of the chief. I remember having voluptuous or stuffed cabbage in my house when my 9-year-old sister fell in love with John Flagello. She still talks about him. Well, where's the girlfriend or wife? I don't want to. Scott Tesser and I rode on the ambulance and have done things that both our files have been sealed. But, and certainly all the other officers, I've been on hundreds of ambulance calls with all of you. I've been part of your community policing, and you've all played a very important role in that. We really do have one of the best police departments in the state. And people, and I say this every time, you don't realize that until you call a police officer in another community. And I'm not saying every community, but judge them by the same metrics, apples to apples. We have a phenomenal police department. And unfortunately, sometimes the council makes decisions based on financial issues and budgetary issues that affect our police department, but it doesn't affect at any moment how we feel about our police officers and the dedication that they provide to our residents. I want to once again thank the family members that are here. Realistically, next week is Christmas. one of you will not be sharing Christmas, or at least not Christmas dinner that night with your family members, because they're going to be here with our family members. So I want to thank you for those sacrifices, and that goes for Thanksgiving, and it goes for New Year's, and it goes for all the other holidays. Statistically, someone's going to be missing. And they're going to be missing because they're protecting Teaneck and Teaneck's family. So I want to congratulate you. It's a huge task. Chief, you're one of the most straight-laced individuals I've ever met. I want to speak to your wife, Lori, and ask her, when you get home, do you take off your work tie and put on your home tie? You know, the by the book, the professionalism that you have infused in our traffic bureau, when you ran the traffic bureau, and now in the police department. I mean, listen, you are fortunate and unfortunate. You're fortunate because you had some good mentors, but you're unfortunate because the chief before you was an absolute phenomenal chief, and those are huge, huge shoes to fill. But we have an accredited department. We have a model community policing department. You know, we are advanced and leaders when it comes to cyber crimes, traffic division, and so many other divisions. So thank you, residents. Thank you, family members. Congratulations to all the officers. Congratulations to our chief. Good luck. God should give you the wisdom and strength to make the right decisions and lead our police department and protect our town.
You know, America is going through crises in terms of community relations and police departments. But in the township of Teaneck, under the leadership of Chief Wilson and under the continued leadership of Chief Carney, this police department is a model for all police departments in Bergen County, state of New Jersey, and the United States of America. And I congratulate all of you.
To be brief, you got some of my time. I just wanted to obviously thank all the officers, but as we approach budget season, the one thing I always say about whether it be the Teaneck Police Department is when you pick up the phone, they come, and they come quickly. And people will always say, why do we need so many police officers? And it's very easy to make that statement until you need that police officer. And when they come fast, and they come. I mean, if you ever, hopefully you're never in that position. I've been in that position before, and I can just say on behalf of my family, I thank you guys, and you have our support, and you'll continue to have our support.
I just want to say that when I took that same oath of office on July 1st, it seemed infinitely more daunting. The words seemed that much harder. But I know that when I was sworn in, I look at my role in upholding the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the state of New Jersey. It's a little bit harder to look at that as a day-to-day responsibility. For you, that is what you do. And when I look at this department, and echoing the words of Chief Carney, in my 20-plus years here in Teaneck, I've seen so many of you advance, move forward, move up, and be promoted. I had an opportunity a year ago as a member of the Advisory Board on Community Relations to sit down and deliver some cookies with then Chief Wilson. And we discussed the fact that and it's a remarkable fact that I think few people recognize, that this Teaneck Police Department has not fired a bullet in the line of duty in almost 25 years. And I think that is a tremendous testament to the genuine connections that our Teaneck Police Department has with the people of Teaneck, and I wish the best of luck to this entire leadership team from sergeants, lieutenant, captain, deputy chief, and chief, and wish you the best of luck in the years to come. Thank you.
Something I learned when I was in the Marine Corps, something that my leaders taught me, and something that I am honored to do today for all of you is I say a prayer during every single swearing in. As those individuals are raising their right hand to support and defend the Constitution, to protect their communities, I say a prayer. because you put your lives on the line every day, and there is no degree of certainty of what tomorrow has in store for you. I want to thank your families because they serve with each and every one of you every single day. When you put on your uniform and you put on your badge and you put on your sidearm and you walk out to protect our community, your families are there with you. So to them, I extend a huge debt of gratitude. I want to congratulate everyone who was promoted today. And I say this sincerely. There is no ceremony that we can hold. There is no promotion that you can earn. There is no accolade or honor that we can bestow that will meet the enormity of your sacrifice. There isn't. I know that you've lost brothers in the line of duty. I know that you have brought up kids from Teaneck to wear this uniform. And I just want you to know it is with sincerity and with honor and with great admiration that I congratulate all of you today. And I will say, as we approach budget season, there's absolutely no paycheck that you can take home that will ever be enough for what you do for Teaneck and this community, on a day-to-day basis. So thank you so much for your service, and I'm sorry for.
First I'd like to congratulate you, Chief Carney, Deputy Chief O'Reilly, Captain Flagello, and our sergeants. And our sergeants, I really want to, really congratulate you because hopefully if I'm lucky enough to reach Henry Pruitt's age, I can come in here and see you guys being sworn, hopefully one of you guys being sworn in as chief. You guys got me getting choked up now. My in-laws live in Edison, New Jersey, and it was interesting because whether you heard it or not, there was a lot of push-in robberies for people of South Asian senior citizens there. And they called me up, and they're like, "You have to warn the Teaneck community." And I said, "No, I really don't, because if they try it here, they're going to get caught." And I really mean that. Because the investigations that I have seen you guys have done with professionalism, whether it's the James Bond gang or whether it's somebody who commits a murder and then you catch them down in Florida in less than 24 hours, and your successes that come daily by working as a team that we as a council get to see. When we say that, you're the best police force in Bergen County, and we say you're one of the best police forces in the state, not only because of, policing our community, but because of what you do, we know this, and we mean it. And I won't talk about the budget issues, but I can sleep very well at night knowing that the Teaneck Police Department are the ones who are taking care of my senior citizen parents in this town, and my uncles and their brothers, and my nieces, my nephews, and my kids. So for that, I thank you very much, and I wish you much success in the future.
I just want to congratulate everyone that was promoted here this evening. Chief Carney is the 9th police chief in the 100-year history of the Teaneck Police Department. He's taken over the police department, the leadership of the police department, at a very difficult time for policing. But as an individual who has worked with Chief Carney for well over 20 years, I have full confidence in his leadership, in his ability to work with our very, very diverse community and the sensitivity that's necessary to police in a township like Teaneck. So, Chief, I look forward to working with you. We talk almost every day and even on the weekend, and I just appreciate everything that you're doing for the town, and I wish you all the best in your new position.
We're going to just take a 2-minute recess because we have a full agenda, but just to give an opportunity for those who want to leave to leave. Thank you again for coming and participating. Not that I want you to leave, by the way, but usually after these things people want to leave, but 2-minute recess. Thank you.
If I can have the council members please come back to the dais, we're going to start. If I can have we have a clerk, Henry. We're going to start. What? Chance to start. I don't know. All right, we're now going to start. The next item on the agenda is we have two more presentations. One is the appraisal system. We have someone here from appraisal system? No? Okay, so that's not on the agenda. The next item is the insurance presentation. Do we have someone here for the insurance? All right. Jay. Okay. The insurance presentation. Are you making a presentation of appraisal systems? Yes. Are they here? Yes. Oh, okay. Can I ask who? All right. We're going to do the insurance presentation first. Can I just ask, how long do you think you need, realistically? Okay, you got 5 minutes and, okay. So we're going to do the insurance presentation. If you want to come up to the microphone.
Good evening. Paul Messerschmidt with D&H Alternative Risk Solutions, the insurance risk consultant and insurance producer for Teaneck Township. As the township's insurance was coming up for renewal this year, as we've done in previous years, we went out and solicited quotes for your insurance. Obtained, actually it came down to just two quotes, one with your traditional insurance and one with a joint insurance fund or insurance pool in the state of New Jersey with a savings of approximately $90,000. The recommendation was to possibly join the joint insurance fund if the council so decides. You would be getting higher insurance limits for less money.
Sounds good. Any council members have any questions? No? All right. Well, thank you very much for coming. Thank you for saving the taxpayers of Teaneck money.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. All right.
Mr. Deputy Mayor, along those lines, prior to Good and Welfare, I have 3 resolutions to read into the record. There are copies at the front of the desk. I think Jamie had copies, but that has to be read in if the council is going to vote for the joint insurance fund.
Excellent. Okay, thank you. Appraisal systems. You're from appraisal systems? Okay. Jane, you're going to also come up, or you're going to introduce them? Can I just ask I don't know exactly, how much time you think you're going to need?
I'm not sure.
We're going to ask you questions for sure. But it's just a question that you have a presentation or anything to say? Or?
No presentation.
Come on up.
We weren't really given a format, so we're basically here to answer any questions.
For those who are not aware, the Township of Teaneck just went through a revaluation where we actually went and did an inspection of every single property, or made an attempt to inspect every single property. That evaluation, residents have received letters as far as what the new assessment, not the assessment, the new value, is that the correct term? Valuation of their property. What that is going to end up as far as the new taxes, we won't know till
the tax rate, till the budgets are set.
Okay.
We get a tax rate.
Right. All right. So does anyone here, you just held a community event, I know 2 weeks ago on a Thursday night, correct?
Yes, but more importantly, we have been and are currently holding meetings with the public. They call our office, and we schedule one-on-one meetings here.
And this is residents that have an issue with the value or questions about what was done, or maybe they couldn't get in?
That's correct.
So they can call you until when?
We still have days available to meet, and we'll take it as long as it takes to.
Okay. Would you be willing to do another one of those community meetings? Because I know that we had over 100 people at the last one.
Well, right now, the format that we have set up, I think, is working very well, because most of the questions that people ask us are specific to their assessment. How did we come up with their assessment? Questions such as that could only be answered when we have all of the data at our fingertips. And again, we make it as convenient as possible. We're running these meetings mornings, afternoons, evenings, Saturdays. We do it right here in Teaneck. And when you simply...
What's your name for the record?
My name is Rick Del Garcia. I'm president of Appraisal Systems.
Okay.
When you call our offices, you simply you can pick the time and date of your choosing, and you can, once we know you're coming down, then we meet with you one-on-one. We have your entire contents of your property record card. We'll even send it to you so you could look at it beforehand. We've been doing that. It's been working out very well. We've literally have emailed or faxed hundreds and hundreds of property record cards in anticipation of these meetings. We've already held over 400 personal meetings, and we're continuing to do so. And these meetings really, in my opinion, it's really the only format in which the questions can be properly answered.
So, Rick, I just want to tell you, and I'm speaking on my personal opinion, or I'm not speaking as the voice of the council. I was in 2008, I think it was, when we first picked Appraisal Systems. I was one of the members, actually I think I was the mayor at the time when we picked the Appraisal Systems. We specifically picked Appraisal Systems because you weren't the company that did Bergenfield. And Bergenfield had a massive, massive amount of uproar. I mean, it was on the front page of the paper until about 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago. I had the front page of that paper. I think it said something about seismic shift, and it had colors, and people were going nuts in Bergenfield. So we said we need to learn from them and do everything the opposite. And we did Appraisal Systems, and I felt you were phenomenal. I felt that you went through the process. You had so many road shows. You over-road showed the town, and people got it. Right? They were very scared about their neighbor, and then they got it. Well, here we are 7, 8 years later, whatever it is. I don't personally feel that you did it as an aggressive of a job of a road show. I don't mean to insult you, because I know you feel that you're doing a lot of personal meetings, but I think that residents just need to be, this is scary for them. It really is. I mean, this is their life. This is their home. This is, can I afford to live in this town anymore? What's going to happen? I got a number, but it looks good, but maybe it's not so good. I don't know what it is. And yes, they should pick up the phone, and they should be encouraged to call you and meet with you because you're aggressively doing it. But I personally would like to see you do more to overroad show Teaneck again, and do it so that it's at nauseum, so that we're like, okay, we don't want to go. There's like, okay, because that's what happened in 2008. 2008, you had 100, then you had 80, then you had 60, then you had 40, then maybe you were just you and Chuck Powers by yourself, And I like to see that happen again, because I really, really do believe, and I'm scared, but I'm also ignorant when it comes to this, that I really, really do believe that there are going to be people in Teaneck that will not know and still don't know. I mean, they send me emails, and I don't know what the answer is. And that's just my personal feeling. So take it, do whatever you want to do with that. That's just the feedback I've been getting from a lot of residents in Teaneck.
Yeah. If I could just respond to that, I was personally at every one of those presentations 6 years, 7 years ago, and from the time we sent the letters out, I think there were 7 or 8 of them that we did, various ones.
Yeah.
They were all done during the process, but the last revaluation we did, after we sent out the value letters, we did not hold the public meetings. We did the personal meetings, which is really what most people want.
I know, but we missed
and
that.
so, here we are 7 years later, and we made ourselves available from the start of this.
No,
to do these presentations.
I think I was very clear. I'm not faulting you. I'm just saying that this is what I saw was a real bonus that got us through a very ambiguous times 8 years ago. Residents that didn't know went through the same situation, and you would think that they learned 8 years ago. You know what? Most people don't remember what they did last week. Forget about what happened 8 years ago. Just my comment. Take it for what you want. Council members, you have comments?
Yeah. Rick, in the 6 years on council, I think I have one interaction with you where a resident called and complained, and you knew about the complaint, and you filled me in of exactly what happened, where the resident was off on. And I think that, as Ellie is saying, we have full confidence in you, but just take our feedback that we feel that another meeting is necessary. I know that you're saying that, look, everybody just wants that one-on-one meeting, but I think that, one more way to just hash it out, I think, that's the same feedback I'm getting also.
So my first revaluation, and my interaction with the residents has been somewhat confusing around the revaluations of their homes and so on and so forth. And this is your lane. I'm not going to pretend to drive in it, but I am going to just bring up a couple of concerns that we've been made aware of. And I'll use an example. We have residents in town who filed a tax assessment appeal last year, and they got a judgment this year. So they actually filed this year for last year's taxes, and they received a judgment that lowered their home by a significant amount. I mean, we're talking in excess of $100,000, and they received that letter in the fall, right? The judgment in your favor, and then they received a revaluation letter, and not only did it take their value back above the previous amount, it brought it even further above that. And it's difficult for me to be able to turn to that resident who just received the judgment after filing a tax assessment appeal, where the valuation or the assessed value of their home has been lowered significantly by 6 figures, and then them have an increase. And they're saying, well, what data was being used? And when I look at the number of sales that happened across Teaneck, and how that just kind of, I don't know if we had the largest sample. I don't know what the right sample size is. It's hard for me to explain to them what happened, because if anyone is unclear, the valuation of our municipality went down about 14%, right? And if we do nothing with the budget, if we keep the budget flat from last year, anyone whose lost value of less than 14%, in essence, would stand the tax increase. I mean, that's the long and short of it, right? So explain to me what data you actually used, because that seems like a wild swing. For someone to win a tax assessment appeal, it lowers by 6 figures, and then now it's up above that 6 and even higher. How does something like that happen when the data is only a year off?
Well, first off, I would say that's the perfect example of someone who should be calling us up and should be making an appointment to come down to show us, okay, here's the information that I presented for the tax appeal. This was the result of the tax appeal. I can't respond to a question like that, not having the information on the specific property. There could be something with the property. I don't know. And in a general meeting, those kinds of questions, again, are impossible. But that person most definitely should come to one of our one-on-one meetings. This way we can lay all the data out on the table. We have all the sales information available, and we can actually get to the bottom of what may have happened there.
Well, if it's not that, and what I'll do is just I will write down the information so I can give it to you. You can take it back with you. But I just want to understand, if someone has a lower value and there's a judgment in this year, and then their assessed value comes back much, much higher, how does something like that happen if the data is only a year apart? And specifically,
I mean, look, we're analyzing all of the current sales, and we're setting these assessments based on the current sales. And again, hard for me to answer here. I don't know which property you're talking about. I don't, even if you were to give me the property now, I would need to be at my computer. I would need to see the specifics of the property, and, it's impossible for me to answer these questions, general questions in this forum.
If I could just interject, there's a time difference. First of all, the appeals that were received judgments in 2014 were actually based on a 2013 valuation. We are talking about removal in time, about a year. And then in that case, once again, we don't know what specific property, but there could have been new construction in that building. So we have no idea. But in general, you have that 15% reduction in the tax rolls. Are there anomalies? Yeah. And some of those properties, there's probably very specific reasons why that property didn't act like every other property in town. And that's what Rick was trying to say with these large meetings without, that's not the rule, but that's what we're addressing without any of the information, the background information, that we can actually make an intelligent answer. What we can say is what happened to most properties. That one outlier, that's really not the forum, an appropriate forum to answer it. And that's why, as Rick suggested, if you sit down with them, they have all that information.
We just want to, honestly, we just want to get it right.
It could be a very simple answer to your question that we just simply can't answer now. But once we sit down and have the data in front of us, it could be a very, very simple answer. But until that time, we have to leave it at, please, whoever that person is, have them call us up and have them set a meeting.
Councilman Pruitt?
A couple of questions, and I'll try to keep it simple. In other words, you can have a house, let's say 3,000 square feet with 4 bedrooms in one part of town. It will have a different assessment than the house across town with the same components based on the sales of the properties in the neighborhood. Is that true?
That's correct.
Okay. So in terms of the general overall evaluation, what percentage do you think of the people will have to pay more money than they paid last year? And what percentage of the people do you think will have to pay less money than they had to pay last year? And not knowing what the formula is, but based on the fact that we have to raise, $70 million from somebody, is there any kind of a trend that seems like you could give a general feeling that a third of the town is going to pay more and, half the town is going to pay less? Is there any kind of a trend like that you can give us?
Yes, there was a shift off of the residentials, on average. There was a shift off of the residentials and onto the commercial properties. And the reason for that is it was the drop that we talk about, this 15% was primarily in the residential housing as opposed to the commercial, which has been much more healthier over the last several years. That resulting shift off of the residentials worked out roughly roughly 2/3 of the residential line items will either be the same or see a tax decrease, and roughly 1/3 will see an increase. That's the way it plays out, generally speaking.
Were there any particular neighborhoods that were hit harder than others, as in previous years?
Yes, there were within the residential, some neighborhoods, in general, some neighborhoods are going up and some neighborhoods are going down. I don't have the specifics of those now, but yeah.
Can we get those specifics?
Yeah, I'm sure we can supply those reports. I mean, that information right now. If you go on our website. I don't know if you've been on our website and looked at the information. I mean, you can pretty much glean that information right from the website. So it's not something that's it's already being made available.
The Bergen record will certainly be doing that as well, as they did last time.
Right, that's right. Yeah.
An interactive map?
That's right.
They did a color-coded map.
Yeah.
As they use Bergen. You'll see the colors in different places probably this time.
In looking at the statement, I think you sort of repeated it. On average, because of the shift, there's a little bit of an increase above 10% from commercial to residential, which means that the average resident will see a decrease. The problem is that hides a tremendous amount of variation. If I have a sandwich every day for a week and someone else has nothing, on average we've had half a sandwich a day, but that hides some variation. And I think I'm deeply concerned about that one-third of residents that are going to see increases. Many people are going to see their bill, their new assessment. Someone who had been assessed at $450 is going to get an assessment for $425 and say, that seems reasonable. I went down 5%. My tax bill is going to go down. When they get their tax bill, it's going up by about 10, 12% or more. And I'm deeply concerned about those people. I think there are many people who are going to see that tax bill and not have any understanding of what the ramifications are. There are a lot of people who saw that letter, and that letter said you have 10 days to set an appointment. Now, I know that the deadline has been extended and that it was never the 10 days, but I think, again, for those people who are watching, and again, to make clarification for residents, I think people need to know how long they do have that opportunity, because it is those sessions where not only can you get clarification on the property card and make sure that all the information on there is accurate, you really do have a finished basement, you have all those bedrooms, all those bathrooms that are listed on there, that everything on the property card is accurate, and understand that assessment, but you also have the opportunity not only to challenge based on comparable sales, but to challenge based on comparable assessments. And you cannot challenge comparable assessments when you're doing a tax appeal. And I think that's an opportunity that there are presumably 10,600 residents who have not availed themselves of yet, and I hope they do have that opportunity. I think that while those one-on-ones are critical, I think that it is critical to have a community meeting, to get that word out. It serves a vital function. I would very, very much like to see a representative of Appraisal Systems do a much more thorough explanation of those changes and how the valuations came up. And I am deeply concerned about some of the aspects of the revaluation. I looked specifically, and as have some residents who were here this evening, at the valuations. And one of the main things that I looked at was looking at 2014 sales and their 2015 assessments. And the numbers that I look at show that those properties that were sold in 2014 that are at the lower end of the price curve seemed to be over-assessed above that curve. My presumption is if it's sold for $200, it should be at $200, for $300 at $300, for $600 at $600. And the numbers that I'm seeing show that those properties on the low end are over-assessed and at the high end are under-assessed. And my deep concern is that if those are the same values being plugged in to determine the values for other homes, that same systematic issue is carrying over. I do want to see more people involved in this process. I do want to have a sense that we as a township can finally, once and for all, get out of the tax appeal business. It's cost us millions of dollars over the past few years. It's caused Mr. Tiger a tremendous amount of aggravation. Look at all that gray hair on his head. And I hope that we can end up with a situation where residents look at their numbers and say, yeah, this is reasonable. I do understand this number. I am ready, willing, and able to pay my fair share of those taxes.
Yeah, I don't see us getting to that point.
Well, if I were to respond to that, let me first bring some clarification to that 10-day rule, and that our informal meetings have spanned over 2 months, and they're into next month. The 10 days was simply to try and urge people to call to make the appointment, not you must meet within the 10 days.
What is the actual deadline?
We'll take the deadline as far out as we need to. I mean, if we have another several hundred people calling us tomorrow, we'll schedule appointments.
Can I suggest...
The phone has, quite frankly, the phone has died down. We're not getting many phone calls now. But
Again, I'm concerned that some of that is because people think that they missed the boat. And if I can suggest that, Madam Mayor, that we ask the manager to send out a notification also just to get that into the Suburbanite and to the other publications to let people know that they still have an opportunity to challenge to get those details, to get their property card, to have that in-person meeting and make sure that their valuation is accurate.
Right, and then the other point I want to stress is either by going onto our website or by going to these informal meetings, you'll get information relative to the potential impact of the assessment, as you mentioned. Because you're right, people get the assessment, and of course they can look at the sales and they can judge whether or not this is an accurate valuation as of October 1, 2014. But what does that mean in terms of taxes? And we understand that, so we've put a tool on our website which we call a tax impact calculator, where you simply put in your old assessment, your new assessment, and it does the math for you, barring no change in the budget, of course.
Correct, and I think that is extremely helpful.
But once they see that, they can then react to that, knowing if they're either going down or staying the same or going up.
Correct. So I've spoken to people.
At a point in time where they can still come down and discuss it with us, or, quite frankly, file an appeal.
I spoke to an individual last night who said, you know what, yeah, I think my home is worth a little bit less, but you know what, my taxes are going down, I'm fine. And I think people knowing what the number is, that the rate approximately for 2014 would be about $3 per hundred, and there's drop off the last two digits, multiplied by a 3, and you have an approximation of what that number is looking at your new 2015 assessment. It's very important that, again, especially for that third that is going to see an increase, and some people are going to see an increase of several $1,000s, that they know that because that increase is backloaded into the third and fourth quarter. You'll be paying in the first 2 quarters 25% each of your 2014 taxes, and that entire increase, including whatever we pass for 2015, will be included in that in the third and fourth quarter.
Or a credit if you're going down.
Correct.
You're correct. That's another issue that's extremely confusing to people come the summer when the tax bills go out. And one of the things I caution, and I'll say it now, and I'm sure it has to be repeated, is that, you know, people who have not gone on our tax impact calculator or have not come down and talked to us, because they load that increase in the third and fourth, people will take that third quarter and then multiply it by 4. So it's going to actually make it seem worse than it is, almost twice as bad as it is. So you might maybe, when the tax bills go out, maybe a note in there that suggests not to do that.
Yeah, and the other aspect of that is that by the time people are getting that third and fourth quarter tax bill, you've missed the boat on filing a tax appeal. And there's an extra month, and there's the deadline for filing a tax appeal after in a revaluation year is extended to May 1st rather than April 1st, and beyond, again, depending on the dates. But again, just so that people understand that they can exercise their rights to get an appropriate valuation.
That's correct.
Thank you very much for coming in this evening. I just want to say that for the average homeowner, they're not studying the data like Councilman Sohn is, really, or Councilman Castle or Councilman Schwartz. All they're concerned about is the bottom line. And once they receive their tax bills, they will have that bottom line. I know when I first got on the council, we did a reevaluation at that time, and I just feel that we did a much better job of reaching individuals prior to the process and then after the process. To me, it seemed a little quiet this time. So I would like to see us have another community meeting just to try to reach individuals one more time, recognizing the fact that we will not be able to reach every homeowner because some people are busy living their lives and really won't. Some people haven't even opened up their letter to see that their house has either gone down or up. It's really just the engaged resident. But we have an obligation to try to reach all residents. So, Mr. Manager, if you could send out an alert letting residents know that the 10 days have been extended or extended. And I would like to see us in the new year host some sort of community meeting to allow residents that last opportunity to come out and hear from tax appraisal. And I also encourage all of us to try to reach all of our constituencies through Facebook, Twitter, whatever social media mechanisms you use. Thank you very much. Have a happy new year, and see you in 2015.
Before you walk away, this is for you. Mr. Abbasi was kind enough to print it out. It's the property I was speaking of. So the residents' contact information and their address.
Okay. Thank you.
We now have a brief presentation by D&H Risk Solutions. Is that brief?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I just
So,
you're still doing it.
yeah, why are you still here?
Yeah.
You guys want to stick around for good welfare? I didn't understand what's going on.
Enjoy the show. Happy New Year to you, too. So where are we on the agenda? What? Public hearing on adoption of ordinances and on acquisition of 671 Pomander Walk. The hearing is now open. No, this is for public hearing and adoption of ordinances. Okay.
Ordinance number 44-2014, an ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 29C of the Code of the Township of Teaneck entitled Rent Control. Ordinance number 45-2014, an ordinance permitting the use special law enforcement officers to supplement municipal court security staffing and monitor and patrol parks. Ordinance number 46-2014, capital ordinance of the Township of Teaneck in the County of Bergen, New Jersey, authorizing the undertaking of improvements to various public buildings and facilities by and for the Township of Teaneck, appropriating therefore the sum of $100,000 and providing that such sum so appropriated shall be raised from the Township's Capital Improvement Fund.
The hearing on these three ordinances and the acquisition of 671 Pomander Walk is now open. Okay. I will repeat myself. This is public hearing on and adoption on the ordinances that were just read into the record, acquisition of 671 Pomander Walk, as well as the public input on the 2015 municipal budget. Mr. Vatsky.
Thank you and happy holiday. I don't know how we can talk about the municipal budget, being that we haven't seen it. Is it available on the website?
This is your opportunity. This is your opportunity to give whatever input you want on the budget. If you want something cut, added.
I want the budget lower. I think there is room in the Teaneck budget. I think of it as being overinflated, and that we may be getting services, but I sense that we've become a little bit complacent, and I'm not sure we get the full value for our tax dollars at the amount we're paying. One of the things that concerns me greatly is this evaluation. How is Teaneck property values faring compared to our surrounding Bergen County
Mr.
properties?
Vatsky, this is not good and welfare. This is your opportunity to talk about the ordinances.
Okay. I'll talk about the ordinances. Okay. Well, you talked about the budget. You said this relates to the budget.
But you were talking about the reeval.
I can go on with the additional police officers at the second level. I read the resolution. It seems to be standard New Jersey boilerplate. It certainly is. I assume there's a need for it, although the option of adding those officers eventually comes a recommendation by the manager and a decision by the council. But since we're in the post-Ferguson time, I was concerned that there was no mention in that resolution about body cams and dash cams for our officers. If these are secondary level officers, maybe they could benefit from having that included in the resolution so that they're aware of, and the council is aware of, and the township is aware of, that people who get involved with the police at that level know that they can be videotaped. I have sent the council material from other police agencies saying that recording of officers or by officers tends to mitigate or minimize the amount of violent activity that the officer has to put up with. I think we ought to take advantage of that. I think that will help Teaneck. And although I want high value, I think adding those cameras now is part of that value. Not adding them sends a signal. Is that the signal you want to send? This is well into the 21st century now, and technology exists. We should not be the last to adopt it. And if we're adding new officers, they could get it from day one and use it and protect us all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vatsky. Dr. Powers?
Chuck Powers, Teaneck. The 2015 budget. I think I know more about that than most of you do, since I did attend all but one of the sessions in which the departments brought forth their recommendations. I was deeply disappointed that we, again, simply asked people what variations off their prior budgets were, rather than ask them to tell us what they would do if they had 15% more and 15% less, because 15% is actually turning out to be a pretty important figure in this town. I want to suggest that the bottom line for each one of us is not the right answer to what this township is facing in the budget. We are a town that is $1.2 billion less valuable than it was in 2006. And what that means for every individual homeowner is that that difference of 15 to 18%, which has eroded our tax base, means that the primary asset for most families, particularly people of modest means, that primary asset is now very much less valuable than it was. And yet, the budget you folks are talking about was projected anyhow, in the one discussion you've had about it, to be 5% higher again in 2005. You are facing a very complicated choice. An additional factor not normally thought about in the context of a normal annual budget is what you're doing with your capital planning. This township, in order to be worthy of people investing in it, coming to this town, development is going to have an infrastructure adequate to that process. And every one of you know that how we've gone about that process recently is ad hoc by ad hoc. Last year, more money was spent in putting stuff into investment, bond-like mechanisms, not all of them there yet, than in any prior year that you folks can talk about. And it was done on the basis of ad hoc recommendations to you, not on the basis of planning what an investment strategy over a 6-year process would be like. I have an idea. Why not ask the planning board to try to figure out how to think about the recommendations made by the departments to the manager on capital spending, be sent to the planning board immediately after they're made, and have the planning board think through, with you as a member of it there, the planning board think through what it is that we ought to be doing with the next 6 years of capital spending in light of what it is we're having to spend on an annual basis in a township much less valuable than it was just several years ago. Oh, what kind of action would that require on your part? What would you have to do in order to have the planning board actually serve that function? Nothing. Not a single thing. Because you are already required in this township to do precisely that. There is a part of our code, Section 2155, that requires the manager to send to the planning board every single year the recommendations of his department for capital expenditures and have the planning board do a review of it, which I assume would be in open public meetings, to talk about what a 6-year investment plan would look like. And then we would have, over that 6-year period, a picture that a group of our citizens have been involved in developing that would then try to figure out where it is we ought to be doing that. And then the manager would make whatever additional changes in it would be required. Now, the interesting thing about that my idea tonight, it's not my idea. It's actually what you are required as a town to do. And doing what you're required to do as a town is something we so consistently forget to do. That, I would suggest to you, rather than, I want to point out to you that all the effort by the prior council not to discuss the budget for a period of 4 months led to not a single word of discussion about capital planning for this township last year. We need it. Thank you.
Howard Rose, Teaneck resident. Mr. Powers brought up that topic of the planning board's responsibilities at a meeting, I believe 2 meetings ago. I'm speaking now not as a member of the planning board, of which I am a member, but merely as a person who has some knowledge of it. Yet the information that was provided regarding the responsibility that he mentioned is on the books. Caught me by surprise, and I will point out to the council that the planning board's statement now is to refer it back to council for a determination on how they want to go about that. So I know that you will be meeting your obligation in terms of considering it, discussing it, and hopefully going forward with some statement regarding it. Regarding taxation in general, I'm speaking now not as a member of the planning board, of the school board, which I am a member of the school board, but merely as a resident who has some extra knowledge regarding the situation. And I've got to tell you that when it comes to taxes, I'm very concerned because the school board budget compromises substantially more dollars of taxpayer money than does the municipal government. And things aren't looking bright. They're not looking good. State aid is anticipated to be less. We know it's not going up. We don't think it'll remain the same. So with that in mind, there's a 2% cap, there's a 2% banked amount, which means you can actually go up 4% on the budget for the school board without voter input regarding the budget. Years past, for the last several years, the bank has not been used. They've stayed within the 2% maximum. The municipal government, on the other hand, which has a 2% maximum, has many caveats that involve its ability to go beyond that maximum and has well taken advantage of those caveats. Should I wait until people are finished reading and looking down? I guess, thank you. I'm concerned that we have a group of people here who are utilizing regulatory availability to increase the budget more than was the original intent of capping it at 2%. And with that in mind, the budget that you're proposing really does that. And you have to consider the fact that I know that several years ago I said to this group, as well as to the Board of Education, that I'm on Social Security. And my Social Security is about the same exact amount annually as my Teaneck property taxes. I'm very fortunate. I have other resources, but there are other people who do not. And with that in mind, I can tell you that you're gaining and may soon exceed my Social Security with the amount of taxes that I will be paying on my property. That's difficult, but it's so much more difficult for other people within the township. I don't have great suggestions as to what you do, but I do have one, which is when you have these budget meetings, start discussing, start going into what services can be lessened. I know that's everyone's sacred cow, depending on which part of the cow you're eating. Everyone wants the sports for the soccer if their children are involved in it. Everyone wants the senior services if they're over age 55. Nevertheless, we've got to think about what we can afford. It's the same thing that's been stated to you over the years as a council. You live within your available funds. You don't raise the available funds based upon a group that find it difficult to pay them. And you provide services just like for your household. What can we afford? Can we afford basic cable or expanded cable or super expanded cable? Well, I'll tell you, for this township, the days of super expanded cable are over. It just can't be afforded. Regarding the property that you're purchasing at Palmander Walk, congratulations on adding to more green space. I don't think there can ever be too much of that. It's a good purchase. it was an unreasonably low-cost item for what you're getting back in return. Regarding the $100,000 appropriation, I wish you would give more information regarding what that's intended to be used for before you vote on it. Because my fear is always that, oh man, what are we putting into the refurbished police building this time? And it may not be involving that at all. I don't know. But I'd like to know. And I think the public should know in general. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to address the council?
Dr. Rasheen Teaneck. First of all, separate things, budget input and ordinances, or is the same? 5 minutes for all of it, or huh? Okay. So the thing, ordinance 44-2014, the amendment to chapter of code entitled rent control. I did not know, and I learned that actually the tax paid by landlords depends not on the valuation of the property, but on their profits of income. And therefore, if they do not raise the rent, they are not going to pay more taxes. Therefore, all of the tax increase will be shifted to the owners of the just residential housing in the town, which is not fair, because not all of the owners of the one-family or whatever houses are rich. Some of them are needy, and not all of the residents of the apartment buildings are poor and suffering. Some of them are well-to-do. Therefore, it's not fair. Okay, there were suggestions. I didn't know that. Okay, so because I am normally to help those who are in need. Okay. Previous meeting, I could not read the last name from the video. Sheldon Ravitz, I don't know. Huh? Aronovitz, yes. Okay, he said that in Fort Lee, the seniors and disabled pay increase 1.5% and others 3%. So somehow it's possible to arrange. Also, he suggested to use consumer some files something, okay, so which allows to put cap on both on the income of the landlords and the increase in rents, okay, so and the taxes, okay. So the thing is also there is Section 8, okay. Normally people who are really needy apply for Section 8, and question is to take care of they don't know how, and we have landlords which agree in lieu of that they can otherwise raise rents to do that, okay? So there are many other things, okay, which can be tried. So I suggest that you table this suggestion till more investigation, what is possible to do, not to just benefit one part of the town at the expense of the other. Okay, this is not fair, and I don't think that this council wants to be unfair. I understand it sounds well, increase zero, but for whom? Okay, so let's please just table it and think about more, and then come back to it. Do not approve it, vote for it tonight. Okay, because again, it's not fair. We didn't know that. It's a pity that people who do know did not explain. So that's one thing. Second thing, ordinance 462014 says various improvements, capital improvements, should be specified. That's one thing. And second thing, it's not going to be done this year, and therefore it should be part of the 2015 budget. I don't think it should be approved now. It's a kind of trying to fiddle with money which are here and put them on the next year. It's not clean work. Please don't do it. Just put it into the 2015 budget and make it clear. Now, the budget, okay. The thing is that, you see, even the noble goal of keeping the budget fixed not growing is not good enough because last year was exceeded too much. So it's basically we need to cut budget below last year's level, significantly below. How much, again, agree on that because last year was messy, okay, and well, you know that. I told what I thought, just I was not answered, but okay. So, but the thing is that please just consider that it should be really lower, and therefore do not approve now some expenditures which you don't know whether we can afford in the budget, which would be like that. So again, put it into discussion of the budget of 2014. Do not try to push it through right now. Okay, this is on this part, and well, the rest will be for good and welfare. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Rasheen. Would anyone else like to address the council? The hearing is now closed. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see you.
I guess good and welfare is okay. Naomi Kramer. I feel like this is a snake or something. Naomi Kramer, Teaneck. On the rent ordinance, I remember there were quite a few suggestions made at the last meeting where they were discussing the ordinance. Thank you. And that you were going to consider some of those suggestions made by the renters. I don't remember all of them, but I didn't quite understand when reading this ordinance that it really includes anything that you were going to consider when rewriting the rent ordinance. So I'm not sure if maybe you can explain that or explain what it's all about, and especially since this doesn't take place until November 1st, 2015, that there's really time. So I'm not sure what the rush is to do this right now. I remember there was some discussion about hardship and seniors and requiring people to make repairs before they can really get their increases. I mean, there were a lot of suggestions that really was supposed to be part of this ordinance, a part of the discussion. So hopefully you will either redo this at some point in the future or hold off on this until you can really research it and make a complete ordinance. Also, I noticed you're finding money for patrolling, capital budget, raising $100,000. Is that, no, which one is this? To supplement to spend money on patrolling parks. I'm assuming that's for Voti Park. So does that mean there's now more money being spent on Voti Park? I will talk more about it later, but in good and welfare, you really need to consider spending money for other parks, like Southern Little League. Why should they have to raise their own funds to fix fields, baseball fields, when you've already spent $3.5 or $4 million on Voti Park, or the splash pad? So I think that hopefully you will find money in the budget or find some way, and I will talk more about it later. I don't want to take your time now. And my old you can probably find some money in some of the contracts for services that you have let out for next year. One of them being the attorney's retainer, which is probably more than most other towns pay their attorneys for their retainer. So, anyway, that's my comments on the budget.
Thank you. The hearing is, anyone else wish to address the council? The hearing is now closed. Ordinance 4424, the rent control ordinance, now includes a sunset clause to allow landlords to raise their rent according to the CPI beginning in November of 2015. Ordinance 45-2014 allows us to use a special class law enforcement officer, which is helping us to save money, not to patrol the parks, but allowing us flexibility to use a lower level officer to do some of the same work. And as far as ordinance number 46-2014, the ordinance clearly states what the money is being used for on page 1 of the ordinance, which should be on the table up front.
Mayor? I'll go in. Can I go in reverse order if we don't?
Yes, but I'm only. We have a full agenda, so I'm going to let you speak. I don't need to be told to let him speak. I was going to allow him to speak. I only would like us to speak for about 5-10 minutes so that we can get to good and welfare. Thank you.
Just very quickly on ordinance 46-2014. Yes, on the first page, it definitely does say what the money is being spent on. But if we learn anything just from the short history, I'd like to see the quotes that we're building these numbers off of when it comes to ordinances. And for me, the equipment shelter for DPW at $40,000, I'd be very interested in seeing what the actual quote amount was for $40,000. Quite honestly, it seems low. It seems a little low. Regarding the 45-2014 and ordinance for SLEOs, let me say on the record, I'm very much in favor of SLEOs. However, I'm not in favor of this ordinance for just two main reasons. One, we classify special law enforcement officers as Class 1 and Class 2. Class 1 are not going through the academy, they're not carrying a firearm, and in the summation of the ordinance it says to patrol parks. And I think I remember a point where the council said that they were not in favor of park rangers, but this almost kind of seems like a Trojan horse to bring in park rangers when the council said no before, and I'm not in favor of that. The other aspect is when we have Class 2 officers, based on statute, have to go through the academy. They have to go through the same exact police training that our active duty police officers go through, which means we are assuming that we have people here in the township, because the ordinance requires that they live in the township, who have been through the academy, who are not active duty police officers currently, that we're going to look to and hire for these Class 2 positions. That seems highly unlikely, and it seems highly unlikely simply because the police department had the ability to hire 4 officers in this past year for the budget, and they only hired 3 because they could only find 3 qualified candidates. So I'm somewhat concerned about that. And for ordinance 45-2014, I'd like to make a motion that we table it.
I'm sorry, which one did you?
45-2014, and that is for SLEOs. I make a motion that we table that ordinance.
I'd like to second that motion.
Can we have a roll call?
Councilmember Castle?
Yes.
Councilmember Hamid?
No.
Deputy Mayor Caddy? Councilmember Pruitt?
I want to eliminate it.
This is for...
Yes.
Okay. Your vote?
I want to keep it on the agenda. That threw me off. I want to keep this on the agenda. Sorry.
That's a yes.
Yes.
It's a yes. I wanted to make sure.
Mayor?
Oh, no, I'm sorry, that's a no.
It's a no. That's a no.
Mayor?
No.
Pass. Motion doesn't pass.
No.
Okay, motion doesn't pass.
4-3.
4-2. No, sorry, 4-3.
4-3 that it stays on.
4 in favor are
Yes,
opposed
table.
to the motion.
No, we
3-4.
We're not tabling.
I just want to
Guys, can I just jump in? I mean, one of the things about this ordinance is, and I'm not in favor.
No discussion on a motion to table. There's a motion to
We're not.
table.
We've already
Stan,
voted.
we've already voted.
We've already
What was the
voted.
vote? I didn't-
4-3.
Which way?
3-4.
That it stays on the agenda.
It stays.
It didn't get tabled.
4 people voted no.
Yes.
3 people. Yes. Yes. 3 people voted to table. 4 people voted not to table.
It did not pass.
Yes.
The motion can be considered. the ordinance can be considered.
Yes.
It stays on the agenda so far.
This has been going on for like over 2 years now. The reason why we're looking at SLEOs is to basically save considerable amount of money on our court costs. We have to by state mandate have to put 3 officers outside. By state mandate, only one has to be armed. Correct? One has to be armed. So that means that you can get a retired police officer to.
We can have a SLEO who's unarmed.
Yeah. Okay. How many of them has to be armed, though?
Well, we want to have one armed in the courtroom, one armed outside.
Okay, so 2 units, and then the third one can just be someone who's not armed. And that gives us the ability, whether we're paying $20 an hour or $18 an hour for someone who is armed and a retired police officer, and then it gives us the ability for the other security guard to be $12 an hour and part-time. I'm not in favor of park rangers, as we've all stated. We're not in favor of park rangers, but this is the whole purpose of this ordinance is so that next year, going into January, that we can save some money when it comes to our court costs. Currently, we have 3 police officers out there who are out there at their salaries are average of $106,000 a year to basically be sitting outside and babysitting the court when they can be doing real police work in the town. So that's why I'm in favor of voting this and moving on with having SLEOs guarding our courthouse.
Can we just amend I think my question, I'm not in favor of the Class 1 aspect, right?
Okay.
So can I make a motion to amend the ordinance to eliminate?
Yes.
You can make a motion to amend the ordinance.
I'm sorry, can we have...
What's the motion?
Wait. You made a motion to table the ordinance. It didn't pass.
Understood. Understood.
You can't keep making motions until you get the desired outcome that you're looking for.
Right now, there's no motion on the floor. There's no motion on the floor. The hearing has been closed, and now somebody has to move a motion. Councilman Castle moved the motion to table. That motion was defeated. It's off the table. Someone needs to move a motion so that there could be a discussion.
I make a motion to move the ordinances.
All 3?
Second.
Yes, all 3.
But I just want to say something.
Go ahead.
I'm still in the 10. I'll keep it short. It doesn't say park rangers.
No, it doesn't.
No, it just says patrol parks.
Correct. And you want to know something? There's absolutely nothing wrong with having people to patrol our parks.
I didn't say there was.
There were residents that came a couple of weeks ago from Aspen that complained about permits and people using the parks without permits, and we have issues with it. So to have anybody patrolling our parks is not a bad thing, especially when we're spending more money tonight, especially when we spend a lot of money on our parks. Even if Southern spends a lot of money on their parks, they want to make sure that somebody's watching the field when they're not there. And it doesn't say park rangers, it's patrol parks. Parks are an important part of our facilities in this town, and they should be patrolled. So I'm in favor of any ordinance that's going to give the manager the proper tools to be able to save the taxpayers' money and let them have that flexibility, and I'm absolutely supporting this.
And actually, I just want to add, currently our police officers do park patrol.
Correct.
So this would allow a lower class officer to be able to do that and to in turn save money. I made a motion to move the ordinances. Deputy Mayor Katz, second the motion.
But Mr. Castle may ask, could he make a motion to amend? The answer
Absolutely.
is he could make a motion to amend.
Absolutely.
I'd like to make a motion to amend.
What's your motion?
My amendment is that we remove Class 1 and only keep Class 2. And I make that motion because a Class 2 officer can also patrol parks and they can also do court detail. But the likelihood that there are officers in the town who have been through the police academy, who are not employed by the township, who are going to do this, we got to send them through the academy. They got to go through the same training. So I want to amend the ordinance to remove Class 1, and I support Class 2. If they want to patrol parks, great.
So you made a motion to amend by eliminating Class 1 officers. Is there a second?
Is there a second? I can run the meeting, Stan. Thank you.
Yes, I will second that, and I
Roll
agree with
call.
those issues.
Councilman Castle? Councilman Castle?
On your motion.
Yes.
Councilman Hamidine?
No.
Deputy Mayor Katz?
No.
Councilmember Pruitt?
No.
Councilmember Schwartz? Councilmember Song?
Yes.
Mayor?
No. Roll call on the ordinances that were moved.
Councilmember Castle?
No.
On all three?
On all three.
Councilmember Hamidine?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Katz?
Yes, with an abstention on 2014.
That's,
Yes.
wait, 1 second. 2014.
2014.
44? Okay.
Okay, I vote on the rent control one, and I'm against the one about the park rangers. I can't understand what we're talking about.
We don't have park rangers.
Whatever you call those things in that second ordinance, we keep adding staff, and we keep complaining about how much money we don't have to pay anybody.
Dr. Pruitt, that is actually, we're not adding staff. We're reclassifying staff so that we could save
Well,
money.
it says to put people in places where there's nobody now.
But we're currently
You gotta
doing
pay
that
them.
already. Your vote.
I'm against it, okay?
Okay.
I'm against the second ordinance, I'm in favor of the third.
And you're in favor of the first one?
First and third.
Okay, so no on 45-2014. Councilmember Ford?
No on 44, yes on 45, yes on 46.
Councilmember Song?
No on
Yes.
44?
No on 44.
Yes on all three.
Okay, pass. Oh, Mayor, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Okay. Did 44? Yes. I have 1 abstention on 44, and I have 1 no on 44.
What was the vote on 44?
2 no, 5 yes. I have 1 abstention on
you have 2
44,
no's on
1
44.
no on 44. I have an abstention.
You guys got to be kidding me. You guys let rent control
Oh, I'm sorry, 3, including, because he had,
Yes, I voted no on everything.
The rent ordinance does not pass.
How are you looking at me and I'm the first guy to vote? The guy, look at,
I will say this, and maybe I shouldn't have this conversation. We had a conversation about rent control, and forget it. Let's move. Rent control passed, yes.
yeah.
Madam Mayor,
We've reached,
what was the vote on 44?
44 passed.
What was the vote on 44?
We have 2 opposed, and we have 1 abstention.
And therefore, how many positive votes do you have? 4 or 3? There's an abstention.
4.
There's an
You have 4
abstention,
positive
2 no,
votes?
the remaining were yes.
Okay, if you have 4 positive votes. I don't see that you have 4 positive votes.
Councilman Hamaduddin, myself, Councilman Pruitt, and Councilman Song are 4 yeses.
Okay. Okay, if you have the 4 yeses, you need the 4 yeses.
We've now reached the point on the agenda for good and welfare where you have an opportunity to, well, actually, Stan, you have to read 3 resolutions into the record.
These will be dealing with the jointure. It'll be B1, Public Entity Joint Insurance Fund, Joint Trust Agreement, and Resolution to Join. Whereas a number of local government units in the state of New Jersey have joined together to form a joint insurance fund as permitted by the Chapter 372 laws of 1983, paren 48:10-36, close paren. And whereas the statute and regulations governing the creation and operations of a joint insurance fund contain elaborate restrictions and safeguards concerning the safe and efficient administration of the public interest entrusted to such a fund, and whereas the Township Council of the Township of Teaneck has determined that membership in the Public Entity Joint Insurance Fund, paren hereinafter referred to as the, quote, fund, close paren, is in the best interest of itself and its citizens, and therefore be it resolved that the Township Council of the Township of Teaneck, paren hereinafter referred to as the municipality, close paren, does hereby resolve and agree to become a member of the fund for a period not to exceed 1 year beginning January 1, 2015 for the purposes of establishing the following type of coverage: workers' compensation and employers' liability, general liability, including law enforcement and public officials' liability, motor vehicle liability, property damage, paren building contents, public official position bonds. Be it further resolved that the municipality has never defaulted on claims and has not been canceled for non-payment of insurance premiums for a period of at least 2 years prior to the adoption of this resolution. And be it further resolved that the mayor and the township clerk are authorized and directed to execute the indemnity and trust agreement and such other documents signifying membership in the fund and to deliver same to the executive director of the fund with the express reservations that said document shall become effective only upon the approval of the state of New Jersey Department of Insurance and Department of Community Affairs. Adopted, I hereby certify that the above is true and exact copy of the resolution adopted by the Township Council of the Township of Teaneck at their regular meeting held on December 17, 2014. B2, a resolution appointing fund commissioner and alternate fund commissioner for the Public Entity Joint Insurance Fund. Whereas effective January 1, 2015, the Township of Teaneck is a member of the Public Entity Joint Insurance Fund, and whereas it is required for the Township of Teaneck to have representation on the Board of Commissioners, now therefore be it resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Teaneck, County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, that 1, the Township Manager, William Broughton, is hereby appointed as Fund Commissioner representing the Township of Teaneck and the Public Entity Joint Insurance Fund Board of Commissioners. 2, Dean Kaczynski, the Director of Human Resources, hereby appointed as an alternate Fund Commissioner representing the Township of Teaneck and the Public Entity Joint Insurance Fund Board of Commissioners. B3, Public Indemnity Joint Insurance Fund Indemnity and Trust Agreement. This agreement made this day of January 1, 2015, the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, by and between the Public Entity Joint Insurance Fund, hereinafter referred to as Fund, and the Township Council of the Township of Teaneck, a duly constituted local unit of government, herein referred to as municipality. Witness, whereas several local government units have collectively formed or are in the process of forming a joint insurance fund, as such an entity is authorized and described in NJSA 40A:10-36 et set, and the administrative regulations promulgated pursuant thereto, and whereas the municipality has agreed to become a member of the fund in accordance with and to the extent provided for in the bylaws of the fund and in consideration of such obligation and benefits to be shared by the membership of the fund. Now therefore it is agreed as follows. 1, the municipality accepts the fund's bylaws approved and adopted and agrees to be bound by and to comply with each and every provision of said bylaws and the pertinent statute and administrative regulations pertaining to same as set forth in the risk management plan. 2, the municipality agrees to participate in the fund with respect to the types of insurance listed in Resolution D1, adopted December 17, 2014. The municipality agrees to be 3. The municipality agrees to become a member of the fund for an additional period not to exceed 1 year, beginning January 1, 2015 to December 31, 2015, the commencement of which will coincide with the effective date of the fund's operation and coverage or the effective date of membership, whichever occurs later. The municipality certifies that it has never defaulted any claims if self-insured and has not been canceled for non-payment of insurance premiums for a period of at least 2 years prior to the date thereof. 5, in consideration of membership in the fund, the municipality agrees that it will jointly and severally assume and discharge the liability of each and every member of the fund, all of whom, as a condition of membership in the fund, shall execute a verbatim counterpart of this agreement, and by execution hereof, the full faith and credit of the municipality is pledged to the punctual payment of any sums which shall become due to the fund in accordance with the bylaws thereof, this agreement, the fund's risk management plan, or any applicable statute. 6, if the fund, in the enforcement of any part of this agreement, shall incur necessary expenses to become obligated to pay attorney's fees and/or court costs, the municipality agrees to reimburse the fund for all of such reasonable expensive fees and costs on demand. 7, the municipality and the fund agree that the fund shall hold all monies paid by the municipality to the fund as fiduciaries for the benefit of the fund claimants, all in accordance with NJAC 11:15, 2.1 et sec. 8, the fund shall establish separate trust funds for each of the following categories of risk and liability: workman's compensation and employer's liability, liability other than motor vehicle, property damage other than motor vehicle, property, motor vehicle. The fund shall maintain trust agreements aforementioned in accordance with NJSA 48:10-36, NJAC 11:15.2 et sec, NJSA 48:5-1, and such other statutes as may be applicable. More specifically, each of the aforementioned separate trust accounts shall be utilized solely for the payment of claims, allocated claims, expenses, and excess insurance or reinsurance premiums for each such risk or liability, or a surplus as such term is defined by NJAC 11:15-2.2. Each municipality to become a member of the fund shall be obligated to execute this agreement. Those are the 3.
Before I open up good and welfare, I'd like to make a motion, and I'm not, that's on the consent agenda. Yeah. All he's doing is reading it into the record.
There were copies placed on the table this evening.
I'm not happy about making this motion, but it's necessary because we don't have the information available. But I'm making a motion to table the minutes on the agenda and relist them for 113. It's really unacceptable. I believe that at least 2 sets of the minutes should be available, but they're not. So I make a motion to table. I need a second, and we have to take a vote.
Councilmember Castle?
Yes.
Councilmember Hamidine?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Katz?
Yes.
Councilmember Pruitt? Councilmember Schwartz? Councilmember Sloan?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes. I'd like to now open up the meeting to good and welfare. This is an opportunity for any member of the public to speak on any issue on the agenda or anything that you would like to address to the council.
Just a reminder,
you have an
Madam Mayor,
opportunity.
11 o'clock, you may have to get a motion to extend the meeting. That's okay.
Yes, thank you. You have 5 minutes to address the council. Just give your name, and that's it. Sir, I have to recognize you to speak.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Thank you. Sir? Yes.
Again, one of the things I want to speak to is about good and welfare. I think this is the most important part of the evening. I think what residents have to say is absolutely critical, but I think even more critical, especially looking at Resolution I, is our response as a council. Are we paying attention to what you have to say? Are we paying attention to township residents? When Resolution I comes up for discussion, I am looking to make a number of possible amendments, including having the opportunity for the council to respond directly to residents, for residents to have the opportunity to be able to leave their contact information, perhaps with Mr. Abbasi, to ensure that they can get a response one way or the other, even if the council does not speak to it, and to ensure that residents are getting the responses that they need to hear during good and welfare. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Daniel Levin. I live in Teaneck for 16 years. This is the first time I'm speaking at a council meeting. I didn't intend to speak. It pains me to bring this up, but this is about the revaluation. I'm a professor at Rutgers Business School. Tax assessments is not my area of specialty, but I did recently take a look at the 200 to 300 homes that were sold from January to October of 2014 and compared them to their assessed values. And if I were, by law, those should be the same, right? If I were to ask you, if a home sold this year, what should an assessed value be? You would assume, I think, that they should all be assessed at whatever they sold for, unless there was something weird going on. But let's say 90 to 95%. It's less. You want to guess how much? How many are within $10,000 of the sales price? Should be 90 to 95%, I would think. It's 20%. To get to the 90 to 95%, you have to have a margin of error of plus or minus $80,000 or $90,000. This is for things that sold this year. I find that really disturbing. It also pains me because I also noticed some, and I shared this, I should tell you, I shared this information with Councilman Sohn, and I encouraged him to share with you, or for you to ask him for the information. I gave him the spreadsheets, some charts. There's some systematic errors in there, and if it's the case for those 200 or 300, I think it might be really problematic for the rest of us. This benefits me, the revaluations. I'm one of the beneficiaries of the what I think are mistaken assessments. So I don't think this is. So that's one reason it pains me to bring this up. But as a matter of fairness for the town, the mayor asked about neighborhoods. It's not going to be pretty when you look at what's happening. I'd say $350,000. If you're above that, get treated one way. If If your house is worth less than that, you got treated a different way on average, but it's systematic. It doesn't seem to be random. It's really troubling. I think the formulas that the vendor used may be flawed. It's really problematic. Anyway, I wanted to bring it to your attention, and I don't know what can be done about it, but I felt as a matter of fairness I needed to bring it to your attention. Thank you.
Thank you, and welcome to the council meeting.
Good evening, Council. My name is Kelvin Sanchez. I am the president of Teaneck Southern Little League. We are a nonprofit, Little League chartered baseball and softball organization, all volunteer organization. Been serving Teaneck for over 60 years. A long and distinguished history of excellence at the local levels, at the district levels, sectional, state championship levels, tournament levels. Very distinguished history as well of producing exceptional athletes, probably the best in the county, baseball and softball. We offer baseball at various levels for kids from 4 to 14. We offer a softball program for girls from 7 to 14. It's an exceptional program open to all families in Teaneck. One of the most critical pieces that we work through is to promote a perfect program, a great program. Builds skills, safety, fundamentals, etc. One of the most critical pieces of that is having safe, reliable, dependable fields. It's critical. It's key to any program at all. This past year, we spent $30,000 to renovate fields and facilities that are utilized by Teaneck Southern to serve the citizens of Teaneck. We raised those funds through various private collections, fundraisers, the generous support of our benefactors and our sponsors, most of them Teaneck businesses. We started the campaign with Lucy Field, which is where our youngest players played throughout the season. It's really where they, developed their love of the game, if you will. It was also one of the fields that needed the most help. We also renovated the batting cages at Apreta Field. Also one of the most critical pieces, tools that we utilize in Teaneck Southern to develop talent and to maintain talent. This is just sort of the first components of a multi-year improvement program that we launched. One of the next things that we need to do, we have actually a number of different initiatives on our plan. Again, a multi-year plan, and those things all together, we put together a capital projects list. Been working that now for a couple of years. The remaining projects and renovation on that plan that we're looking to accomplish in the next year is approximately $100,000. We're here coming to the council, myself, a number of my partners and colleagues on the Teaneck board, and a number of other folks who thankfully are here to support Teaneck Southern and the good work that we've been doing not only recently but again for the last 60 years. We're looking for you guys to help our program. We feel very strongly, there should be funds in the municipal budget to continue to support our efforts. It's critical that we work on the remaining two fields. Again, Lucy Field is the first one we started with. We've got two more fields that we really need to work on, Minor Field and most importantly, Apreta Field, both of them at Lindbergh and Glenwood, if you guys know where it is, over by Hawthorne School. Tons of families take advantage of it. Multicultural organization. It really does serve this town very well as part of the sort of the fabric. We have dedicated volunteers on our board. We have a tremendous amount of players that are really dedicated. We love Teaneck Southern. The fields are a major component of it. It's sort of our home away from home. I think I probably spend much time on the fields of Teaneck Southern as I do at my own home. really want you guys to help us raise the level of performance, the safety, and reliability of our fields, support us in growing this organization. While I have just a few more moments, I just want to take a few moments to, I know they're not here anymore, but to recognize the support of DPW in this past year, the $30,000 that we put into Lucy and Apreda. Couldn't have done all the work that we did without their great support. Fran and Mike Cassidy and a couple other guys there, that tremendous support, as well as the guys from the BOE, the Board of Ed. So we're looking for you guys to help support us and really see through fruition the various projects that we want to establish.
Thank you, Mr. Sanchez.
Good evening, Hector Ferrer, Teaneck. As some of you may or may not know, I'm the gentleman that initially petitioned in 2007 to have the nativity scene display. It's amazing that through this journey, it's gone through 3 or 4 mayors in this process. But I'd like to first point out the fact that, Mayor Parker, your historic election as a first African-American mayor of Teaneck is quite an accomplishment. I also wanted to take an opportunity to thank and recognize all the concerned parties with respect to the nativity scene, the Christmas tree being lit, and the magnificent work that has been done, in addition to the workers who put all of the displays together and have done an outstanding job, Mr. Wilson and so forth. But regrettably, we're almost there, and I want to sincerely thank everyone for their participation in advancing this cause, as many of you have spent many long hours or time working on this. I was very encouraged a few minutes ago. The respected council member Son approached me. We had a very productive conversation, and I also have to recognize the respected, at that time, Mayor Katz, who also took time from his personal schedule to meet with me back in 2007. It's amazing to think. We're almost there, but regrettably, one of the issues that I still like to address is the fact that, unfortunately, the nativity scene still is the least visible display of all the displays. We have a magnificent menorah with magnificent lights. We have currently the magnificent Christmas tree and holiday displays. Everything looks magnificent, but with all due respect, the menorah is very small. It has a 25-watt bulb, nativity scene, shone onto it. And it may seem insignificant, but for some of us, there appears to be an element of bias. In addition to that, there were times that the nativity scene was placed behind bushes. There were times that the nativity scene did not have a spotlight. There were times that the nativity scene was rejected by some. But I'm not going to enumerate every issue that we've had with the nativity scene. But nevertheless, I once again feel very encouraged by Councilman Saul, and with all due respect, Mr. Manager, in 2007, there was an article that, because this situation has reached national attention. It was just broadcast on New Jersey, Chasing New Jersey, just did a story on it. And amazingly, it took a Jewish mayor from another town to get involved in this particular matter. But Mr. Mayor, with all due respect, back in 2009, I sent an email to you thanking you and expressing my gratitude for placing the nativity scene in front of the Christmas tree, where it has been established since 2009, during the time that a lawsuit was potentially going to be filed. I'd like to enter this into the record. So we're just simply asking for equal accommodation. It's mandated by the Supreme Court under lawns where it requires that there is no hostility towards any particular religion, and that it mandates equal accommodation, also the First Amendment. But the bottom line is, at this time, for all the foregoing reasons, I respectfully request and formally request once again that the Township Council of the Township of Teaneck amend and supplement the 2006 ordinance associated with the nativity scene by establishing a uniform holiday display which contains specific language as to the specific displays, where they'll be located, the time that they'll be located, in order to avoid continuing every 2 or 3 years, we continue to invest, endless time over a matter that is self-evident. I'd rather come to this council and speak of some of the issues that the respected councilman and I spoke of being able to...
Thank you, Mr. Farrar.
And so I look forward to your response.
Gentleman with the
Good evening.
pad.
I'm Ralph Fraser, Teaneck resident. I just want to echo some of the statements that were already, some of the statements that were placed by Mr. Sanchez with regards to the fields. As a proud parent of a 9-year-old that tomorrow will be at the State Senate floor being recognized through a proclamation by the New Jersey State Senate as a result of winning the Jackie Robinson World Series down in Texas. Since the inception of that Congress, thank you. Since the inception of this prestigious organization, the Jackie Robinson organization, it is the only team since 1971 that has ever won that particular World Series. And I attribute a lot of that success that he has so far achieved as a result of the hard work, diligent efforts of Mr. Sanchez, the entire community board for the Teaneck Southern Baseball League. These are individuals that have committed themselves to the youth. It sounds very cliche-ish, but it is significant to bring out to you that these kids that tomorrow will be at our state senate, being recognized by our representatives throughout the state, comes as a direct result of what these guys do day in and day out. The $30,000 that were raised through public efforts, rather private efforts in canning in front of stores, car washing, is very modest to fix $30,000 worth of funds in a field that required much more. What they did was very modest and really did not address what it could have done. More importantly, Philip Prater Field and Minor Field are in desperate need, and the $100,000 that he mentioned are very, very conservative figures. What we're looking at here is an investment in our future, an investment in our field of dreams, our national pastime. All right? Critical components when you're looking at trying to build the youth of America. Considering what we face today, this is an investment, if through your assistance, through your efforts, into what these gentlemen day in and day out do for us. Some other things that I want to just reach out for you. Community outreach, the community efforts on behalf of the board and its presidents, it's phenomenal. Okay, they're all volunteer guys that do this day in and day out. They work 12, 15 hours a day when they're out there. It's a representation of the town. It's a commitment to the town. It attracts, hopefully, prospective new residents. More importantly is the foundational aspect of this, the lifelong experiences across all boundaries, all ethnicities, involving all people from all walks of life, all the voters that go in day and day out during the week and on weekends on those fields. I am very proud as a parent that my kid tomorrow will be on the state senate floor. And again, as I stated, was because Teaneck Southern afforded him the opportunity to be part of this league. It developed and nurtured him, and has gotten him to a certain level now where he's exceeded the talent level of most 9-year-old kids. But that has come through hard work and effort, of which these board members, these volunteers, these representatives of Teaneck do day in and day out. And it's through their hard work, as I stated before, that I ask of you, please really consider reinvesting in these fields. Some of you I've seen on opening day. I hope to see you come this April on opening day at Philip Prater Field. But more importantly, really think about what it is when you're there and when you address the crowds and you address those small kids, okay? A lot of those kids are honor roll kids. They're student athletes, okay? And I ask of you and appeal to you, to your sensitivities, right, to your basic necessities of saying, let's reinvest in our infrastructure by simply, through a simple gesture of helping build those fields up. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Gentleman in the back.
Hello, my name is John Beckham. I'd just like to commend the council, the DPW, and the police department for what they do. What I want to bring up is just two minor things, and I won't be here, flapping my gums for half an hour. One is that on the corner of Fairfield Street and Tryon Avenue, it seems like the area is dark, like there needs to be a light on the corner there. My wife and a lot of people walk down that street. I know when I drive towards Tryon Avenue, make a right, it's hard to see the people that are crossing the street. The second thing is I don't know how the township and the DPW does a great job of picking up the leaves, but that particular street is a border street, and two towns meet at that area. And what I find is that when Teaneck cleans up the leaves, Inglewood's leaves are still on their street, and they blow off to our side, and vice versa. Is there a way, do the townships work together to coordinate so that those areas could be cleaned once and for all, so you stop having to repeat the process and possibly save some money? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Peckham. Mr. Vatsky?
Thank you, Mayor. I have my notes here. I just want to repeat what I said earlier, that I want fair value for my municipal taxes. And it's your judgment, it's your vote that makes the difference on what is decided, how much to spend. I am concerned, like other residents, about the taxes you ask for the private homeowners. And I'm also concerned that if the raise in tax monies happens in the commercial sector, it will drive more commercial property out of town or close down. And that'll raise the taxes we have. I'm concerned about the health of this community. I heard what Mr. Levin said about the values of our homes. I'm concerned about how that compares with homes in adjacent communities. I assume you have staff that can calculate those numbers and see where we are trending. Because when I come to Teaneck, and maybe it is my own eyes, parts of Teaneck look run down. They look run down. And by that I mean portions of Teaneck Road and portions of Cedar Lane. And it's not a new situation. I'm very glad to hear that there's going to be a cleanup program on Cedar Lane. I'm looking forward to the results, but it's about 5 years overdue. And those 5 years, it's been unpleasant on Cedar Lane. It's tired, it's dirty. And for the past 2 years, we've had those traffic cones that you can't avoid. You can't take a picture on Cedar Lane without including traffic cones. And yet we've waited. Another thing that's been waiting for 7 years is the Chestnut Plaza bus shelter. Now, I don't know if I'll be alive when we get the bus shelter. I don't take that bus. It just makes sense. I'm an engineer. I'm analytical. If that's where people wait for the bus all year long, 250 days a year, and we have bus shelters, that's where a bus shelter should be. It's making a hardship that doesn't need to be. And it's your choice, or perhaps it's the manager's choice under your guidance. But you've let it stay there, and there's been some really cold, wet mornings. And I think, I don't know how you could, this is a nothing thing. 7 years? Please. Cedar Lane should have been shining 5 years ago, after the manager first did his repair and saw that wasn't sufficient. And the bus shelter should be there. When I visit other towns in Bergen County, I haven't found one yet that looks the way Teaneck looks. And that falls on you. We don't have the right conditions to bring in development. We don't have the right conditions to bring in housing choices, more business. Now, some council members want to say, hey, it's a new town, new game, we're here now. They don't want to take responsibility what's come before. Well, responsibility comes. You inherit every good thing and every bad thing every council has done before. And there is a record there. It's not all A's. Please, I envy the public's areas of other towns. So how come they can look this good? What have they done that we haven't? Where have we made our investments? You've made those decisions. I stood here 3 years ago and said, we could help Cedar Lane by putting a sign at Bell Avenue saying this exit for Cedar Lane shopping. I said it. You heard it. It's on the record. Well, there now is a sign for shopping at Bell Avenue. It's for Bergen State something. It's one for the other plazas. Somebody thought it merited to use that spot, and it wasn't us. Maybe that could have helped. You guys have a $70 million budget every year, and you have 365 days every year. I'm as concerned with your daily budget as I am with your financial budget. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vasky. Can I get a show of hands of how many people would like to speak? Okay. I think we need to take a vote now to extend the meeting. Would anyone like to make a motion?
Make a motion that we extend the meeting to 11:30.
The meeting or good welfare? What are you extending? You have a lot of stuff to do.
The meeting to 11:30.
What do you?
Do you have a second? Councilmember Castle?
Yes.
Councilmember Medine?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Cap?
Yes.
Councilmember Pruitt? Yes. Councilmember Schwartz?
Yes.
Councilmember Stone?
Yes.
Madam Mayor, I just want to remind you have resolutions that have to be passed before the end of the year. So you have to have a certain point to get to the business of your meeting.
Yeah, I didn't vote yet, yes.
Okay.
Thank you. Has Good and Welfare been an hour?
No. Good and welfare started at 10:25.
Okay.
Good and welfare doesn't have to go for an hour. You can cut it off when you feel it's reasonable. It's not to exceed an hour.
Yeah, Good and Welfare will conclude at 11 o'clock. Can I get a motion to conclude Good and Welfare at 11?
Councilmember Caswell?
No.
Councilmember Medine?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Katz?
Yes.
Councilmember Pruitt?
Yes.
Councilmember Schwartz? Yes. Councilmember Stone?
No.
Mayor?
Yes. Who would like to address? Okay, Howard Thompson?
Good evening, Howard Thompson, Teaneck. First item that I would like to address is I didn't come here anticipating the Teaneck Southern would be here speaking, but I would like to implore you in supporting them because they've been a great asset to my daughter who played there for 3 years, and it really has helped her socially, physically, and even encouraged some of her friends to also come and play. So please, if you can support the Teaneck Southern, that would be absolutely wonderful. Secondly, on Voorhees Street, there's a pothole, real major divot. There's one on Voorhees Street on the first block, second block, and then on Rensselaer, I have to actually just go around to come into my street because, there were some patches, but I understand the circumstances, but if something could be done, that would be great. Thirdly, thank you with regards to Hamilton Court putting up the yield sign entering Voorhees Street. I'm quite sure that has helped save some accidents. Also, if we can possibly do some crosswalk patrol on Teaneck Road in the AM hours when people going to work, where people are actually doing maybe 50 miles an hour going down Teaneck Road, and I see people running for their lives across the street. So if something can be done with regards to that. And also, we have some sporadic on and off of homelessness. I just seen it within the community that they're using the bus shelters. I mean, if there's some mechanism, some way we can address them, help them, because people are looking to use the bus shelters to wait for the bus, but then we have people utilizing it as, squatting. So if we can do anything to address that, that would be really super. And that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Naomi.
Thank you. Teaneck. What do? I don't know what to do. Teaneck, Naomi Kramer, Teaneck. Firstly, I'd just like to support Southern Little League. You've spent $3.5 or $4 million on Votee Park for football and soccer. I cannot believe it is incredible that they have had to do their own fundraising when you've spent $3.5 million to fix one field. So I'm sure that there might be grants. You can find it in your capital budget to give them money when you have already spent so much, and you have applied for grants. I found some old minutes from October where you applied for grants for Votee Park exercise equipment. You've applied for grants for Bergen County Open Space Fund ADA Trail. So I think that you need to help them. You need to find grants and apply for those grants so that they do not have to do their own fundraising. It's really outrageous, I think, and very discriminating that only one part of town is getting the money for their fields and another part of town has to raise their own funds. And I hope that isn't to other leagues as well. I want to address Resolution I and the problem you're just having tonight. You didn't start your meeting until 9:15, and now you're penalizing the public from being able to speak. You need to hold a workshop meeting once a month where you do these presentations, where you do the promotions, so that you have time at your regular council meetings to have the business of the town and allow the public to speak. The idea that you want to cut the time for people to speak from 5 minutes to 3 minutes, most people don't speak for 5 minutes. The only time I would speak for 5 minutes is if I have more than one issue to talk about, or if somebody speaks about an issue that's relatively complicated and needs more time. So that is not fair. It's not fair to the public. It's not fair to our democracy. Part of the reason why people speak at Good and Welfare also is to speak to the public and let them know the issues that they need to know about, that you're dealing with, that there's no way for them to find out about, that there might be some opposition. And to move Good and Welfare to the middle of the meeting, from the beginning of the meeting, you will lose part of the number of people that will come to speak. In 2009, Jackie Cates moved Good and Welfare to the beginning of the meeting just for that reason, so that the public will be able to speak and not necessarily have to wait through the entire meeting or a large portion of the meeting to be able to make their speech and to have to speak about their issues. I really think you just need to have workshop meetings. You need to have workshop meetings where you don't have to tell a council person you only have 2 minutes or 3 minutes to speak. You are discussing important issues about running this town. We hear no discussion from you, or minimal discussion from you, because there's never any time. It's just terrible the way you're running this town. You need a workshop so you can start your regular meetings at 8 o'clock instead of 9:15, and then hold up the public from speaking because you didn't start your meeting until 9:15. It's really not fair. I'm sorry for getting so upset, but you're blaming good and welfare and people speaking to you for the reason why your meetings are so long. It's not that. You don't start your meetings on time because you're having these wonderful promotions and wonderful all kinds of presentations that we need to hear. But you need to do a workshop at least once a month for that to happen, so your meetings can start on time.
Dr. Powers?
This is your last speaker, madam.
Chuck Powers, Teaneck. I want to, first of all, invite all of you to the Byron Bear Public Service Award being given to Loretta Weinberg on tomorrow night. It is a really quite extraordinary. It was a unanimous vote of the Bergen Grassroots Steering Committee, in part because of the extraordinary work she has done in opening up the Port Authority this year, not only what she has done to try to pursue the issues that Byron Bear pursued in the Open Public Meetings Act. I think Naomi just talked to you about a number of issues that are related to that. Think carefully about how it is that transparency, openness, and the input of the public to your thought processes might be undermined by what you may be doing with Resolution I. I also want you to think about 1.8 twice. $1.8 million was how much you added to the original cost of the Votee Park process. That's $1.8 million that didn't go to Southern and get spread around the rest of this town. You added 1.8, and tonight you're about ready to give back to the same architect who got you Votee Park without bathrooms to put bathrooms in, and you're not doing anything yet about the Southern League. I want to point out to you that there is, in fact, a process that I was suggesting earlier that would keep you from doing that. Not doing oddball stuff with your capital expenditures, but doing planning with it. Knowing what it is. $1.8 million should not have been added to make Votee Park a magnificent piece and leave the Southern League and all that it brings to this town in without any support. $1.8 million is also another number. It is the number that you will now take back from the 2014 budget that you passed on August 12th. And you actually, it turns out, had $1.8 million you did not need in that budget. Because we know that because you're going to recover it tonight. And one member of this council told you there was $1.8 million that you could have saved, which would have saved 3.5% on the budgets, on your portion of the budget from the taxes for 2014. Folks, how you make your decisions, how you think through where $1.8 million goes, not just tiny little pieces. You are going to add tonight again to the old police building renovation. Another, what is it, 100,000, 168,000, now 400,000. Oh, wait a minute. You have found not just $1.8 million in the 2014 budget to be able to take back at the end. You've taken another $400,000 to add to what it is that you originally said you were going to spend on the old police building. That's $2.2 to $2.3 million. Unless you grab hold of your responsibility to make discriminate choices, listen, talk through what it is that you're spending money on. Don't just sort of throw bells. You said no bells and whistles on Votee Park, and bingo, you were into the bells and whistles. But Southern didn't get a penny. Something is wrong about that. I hope that in your open public meeting approaches to what it is you want to hear from us, you will begin to hear the data that you need to hear. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Powers. Good and Welfare is now closed. First of all, I want to thank Teaneck Southern League for coming forth today, and thank you for what you do for the youth of Teaneck. It's volunteer organizations like yourselves that can be an extension of the government and provide good, safe recreational opportunities for our youth, and I thank you for that. Had the opportunity to support your casino night last year. I look forward to supporting you in the coming years. I do resent residents coming forward and pitting leagues against one another. How many years did soccer come before this council and lobby to get those fields?
And football.
And
football.
And football. And Deputy Mayor Katz can probably speak to it because they were probably lobbying when you first started on council. So I really resent that. We care equally about all of our sports leagues, all of our fields. It's not a biased decision. Votee Park is the center of our town. It's not skewed funding. We invest in all of our sports league. With that said, the manager, I would like for you to sit down and meet with them to see how we can come up with some sort of a plan to assist them in improving their infrastructure and possibly using most money for that. Do you want to?
I mean, I'm glad that I wasn't the only one steaming. As those conversations go on, Mr. Sanchez, I'd like to thank you also for all of your hard work. What you need for the kids of this town, you will get. And one of the things that we under, this was a 13-year process, and the numbers that Mr. Powers and Ms. Kramer are throwing out are just all false. And this is exactly why she's getting upset, is because people who invest in this town, you have made a tremendous impact on my niece and nephew, and my niece and nephew's friends, and our friends that we put together, and we have parties, and we come down to a parade, and we walk down in the fields. And to come and bring vitriol politics, divisive vitriol politics that they're used to doing, to bring it into our kids is the lowest of the low. And that's exactly what they're doing. And they're used to doing it, and it's not just, Bergen Grassroots, it's Teaneck Transparency or 2020 or whatever your organization is for the next, the next election cycle. So we are committed to the kids of this town. She sacrifices her time for the Youth Advisory Board and does amazing things. I've sacrificed my time and make sure that every time a kid needs me at school or something that we're there for our kids, because we're products of this town. And we're second generation and third generation in Teaneck. And so that's why we're very passionate when we come up to you, and we're usually we can take the nonsense that comes into this room, but we don't want Teaneck Southern to be pitted into their little BS political game that they bring in to try to put one side of town against another side of town when they don't have any kids in that side of town or have any relationships or have any volunteers or ever been to the field when something was supposed to take place. We are happy to support you, and we will support you to make sure that, that when my kids are ready to play on those fields, that they're going to be ready to play on those fields. So thank you again, and as you give the manager the information, please feel free to email us that information. We're here to meet with you whenever you would like to go over your concerns, and we're here to help you with fundraising if you need be. So thank you.
I just want to, Mr. Manager, if you could just follow up with Howard Thompson on Voorhees Street, and as well as John Peckham, Fairfield and Tryon Avenue regarding their issues. Regarding Mr. Ferrer, again, I just, I'm a Christian, and I'm very proud of the holiday display that we have currently. We had some issues with lighting. They have since been addressed. I'm hopeful that next year that we'll be able to have some sort of public celebration where we can celebrate our diverse religious residents in town. I think that the My 9 article was biased. It's interesting that he mentioned that a mayor championed that, but yet they never contacted me to see what my thoughts or my opinions were on it, and I will be contacting them about that. Mr. Levin, again, welcome to the council meeting. I'm sure you come back. Come back. I don't want to belabor the point because we do have business that we have to attend to before the end of this is our last council meeting of the year, but I will allow council members to address any concerns briefly.
Just 30 seconds on
Sure.
that one. Sir, one of the things about this, the prices that we talk about, that bringing it up to it comes down to an average square foot price of the area is what you're looking at. So like someone who, like myself, who bought the house before the evaluation at a certain price during the downturn in the market, it balances out when you look at the square footage price in the area, if that makes sense. By New Jersey state law, we are supposed to bring it up to assessed value for the retail value, but to balance it out, the system, and time is short, so I don't have a lot of time to explain it, but it comes down to an average square foot price of the area. I'm sorry.
I want to thank Teaneck Southern. I too, came to your fundraiser for casino night. Awesome. I got to wear a tuxedo. That was great. You guys have done a lot for the town. They say if you build it, they will come. We built it. You guys improved it. Players are coming far and wide to play, and I hope that my daughter, when she turns 7, is able to play as well. I do want to say this, though. I grew up in Rahway, New Jersey, and in Rahway we had, I guess, basketball courts that were probably the same condition of, let's say, the fields. And I used to have to bring my own net and actually shimmy up, the bar and sit on top of the basket and then put my net up so I could practice, so I could make the varsity team. I was only JV, so I wasn't that good. But when I left the park, I took my net back down. And the last thing that we want to do is put you in a situation where you're taking your net back down, right? You paid for drainage. You improved our fields. We should be paying for those things. And I'm happy to hear the commitment from Councilman Hamiduddin, because that means that you've got, just from what people said, you should have the votes to get the funding that you need. I don't view some of the things that people said as pitting different sport leagues against one another. I think that there are some impassioned people. I think that we create perceptions as a council, as a municipality, and we have to work on the perceptions that we create. There should have been, in my opinion, in the past, some dispersion. We as a council should have looked at the fact that we're spending so much on soccer and football and said there are some other sports that are played in town. I congratulate the team that's being honored on the Senate floor tomorrow. I think that's phenomenal. I can't think of a time when I've ever seen Teaneck Southern be honored here in council chambers, and I think that that's something that we should probably change. At least I haven't seen that, and I'd like to see us actually echo that honor. The only other thing that I'd like to speak about is I felt very, very badly when we closed Good and Welfare, and there were still two hands out there of people who wanted to speak. And that feeling that I felt when we did not allow those two individuals to speak makes me feel like it's another feeling that I would repeat if we allowed Resolution I to pass. We shouldn't have two residents who've been sitting here all night who've been waiting to speak for Good and Welfare. I wasn't elected to cut ribbons. I wasn't elected to, raise funds. I was elected to do the people's work. And if the people come to the council meetings to speak to us and tell us their concerns, we owe it to them. We to respect the fact that they showed up to voice their concerns. So I can't support Resolution I, and I really can't believe that we closed Good and Welfare when we had two hands that were still up.
Thank you.
Just a comment about Mr. Vatsky's bus shelters. I thought we spoke about moving the current bus shelter a little bit either up or down so that we could accommodate a bus shelter there. Yeah, I'm 100, and I know that Mr. Vatsky will probably fall off his seat. I'm 100% in favor of this bus shelter and putting it there. I think it's important. Especially that one is very, very active. Can we look to move it and get a shelter there, or look to maybe put a shelter there and see now how the merchants respond?
We can probably get some homeless people to stay. We can decrease homelessness.
I have, as I said in the past, I've met with the merchants.
Yeah,
I've met with the Cedar Lane Management Group.
They have some of the concerns that the gentleman brought up of what the bus shelter may be used for, and also the shelter is going to block one of these gentlemen's stores, one of the stores, and it's going to block the plaza that we just installed.
Can we move it a little bit east or west, so that just a tad, just so that it doesn't, maybe it doesn't all block his store. It kind of blocks two stores in the middle, or
Deputy Mayor, how about we set up a subcommittee
Okay, fine. We'll have a bus
to
shelter
deal with the bus shelters? I think we have business that we have to get to.
Let's do our business, because we're not going to solve all those problems tonight, and it's going to be 12 o'clock. So let's move forward.
I'll make two quick comments. First of all, I just want to agree with Dr. Rasheen. Back on the rent ordinance, I voted against it because we're sitting here trying to shift the taxes burden away from single-family homeowners, and at the same time we're reducing the income to the commercial paying apartment owners. And that's why it didn't have my support the first time around, and it didn't have my support now. And I wanted to agree with you on that. I also just wanted to reach out to Mr. Sanchez as the Parks, Playground, Recreation Advisory Board to get us that information to the board so we could start incorporating that money in that wish list. I've been getting a lot of phone calls the last 3 or so months from TBO, their wishes and desires. So if I can just give you my card to get us to the board, we should probably have someone from the Teaneck Southern on the PPRAB so we can make sure all those fields get taken care of.
Councilman Song.
Again, just to respond to Mr. Sanchez, again, we very often spend a lot of time spreading fertilizer at council meetings. But when I pass by Teaneck Southern Little League fields, I see Teaneck parents spreading fertilizer on the fields, spreading grass seed, spreading clay, spreading dirt. I think we've done that, and we've seen the Teaneck Southern Little League parents do that. I think in addition to all the things that we need to spread the wealth. We have $500,000 that will be coming in for Municipal Open Space Trust Fund this year, and I would like to see the Teaneck Southern Little League funds, fields benefit from that. I would like to see the TBO fields, which are in far more atrocious condition. Virtually every field at Votee is far worse. Lancers is underwater. The fields at the north end are dust bowls in the summer. I would like to see the splash pad move forward that much sooner. I think that we have invested a tremendous amount in the soccer field. That is fantastic. I envy the kids who are playing on there. I hope that we can have all our sports leagues benefit equitably from the tax dollars that they spend to see that investment. And I wish you the best of luck. I want to thank Mr. Levin again. I thank you both for the analysis, and I think I am deeply concerned not only that there are valuations that are off from the sale price, but that there are valuations that are systematically off, that low-priced homes seem to be systematically overassessed. Virtually every one of the lower-priced homes seems to be above the line, and when you get to higher-priced homes seem to be underassessed. I think we need to get a better grasp of that. I look at the agenda for tonight's meeting, and just to echo what Naomi Kramer said, this meeting was set up to fail. Again, you talk about, what's that line about fertilizer, back to fertilizer, about size of bags and fitting it in, there's about 4 or 5 hours worth of work, and we have a 3-hour meeting. It is impossible to have tried to do all the work that we put into this agenda and do that tonight in the time that was allocated. And I hope that we can finally find a resolution to that, and that resolution is workshops.
Thank you, Councilman Son. I just wanted to say to the public members that were not able to address the council, all of our all of our email addresses are on the website, as well as our phone numbers. And it is not my intent to silence the public, but as the mayor of this town, I have to make sure that the town is able to operate after the council meeting. This is the last official business meeting of the year, and there's business that has to be conducted. So again, it is not my intent to do so, but I have to make good, sound decisions so that the town is able to operate and provide good service to the public. With that said, I'd like to move the consent agenda. Pulling Resolution C. And the bill lists in the amount of
$5,201,828.62.
Can I get a second?
Can I also pull Resolution D, I, N, and
VWNX.
I'm sorry. VWN?
Victor, Whiskey, X-ray.
Okay, need a second?
Second.
Thank you. Okay, Councilmember Casso?
Yes.
Councilmember Minadine?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Cap?
Can you just tell me what we're voting on?
We are, what was pulled was resolutions C, D, I, N, V, W, and X.
So we're voting on everything but that.
But that.
So an abstention on the bill list, and an abstention on resolutions, P as in Peter, Q, R, S, T, and U as in uniform. That's how you spell uniform.
Councilmember Pruitt?
Abstention on the bills list, the rest of them I vote for.
Okay. Councilmember Schwartz?
Abstention on D, though, I think it's pulled anyways, but I guess not everything else.
Okay. Councilmember Song?
Yes.
Thank you, Mayor.
Yes, with an abstention on the bill list. Do you have enough votes for the bill list? I don't know the check number for myself.
I do.
Yeah, okay, so abstention on the bill list. Okay, I'd like to move Resolution C for the purpose of discussion. The council meeting schedule, just for the record, January 22nd and January 29th, I am not available to attend the meeting, which are budget meetings. So we can either move them or add them to February. And the manager has a conflict on January 27th.
The budget dates for delivery of the budget to the council, introduction, and adoption of the budget have all been extended by the state. So as part of what I was going to bring up, it is possible that we could move the budget dates, if you want to move them further into February, because there seems to be, several conflicts with those dates. I believe Councilman Schwartz has conflicts with Thursdays as well.
The 15th as well. We're going to move that as well?
We could move them all into February.
I'm in
if you want
favor
to do that. I thought you had the 22nd, the week of the 22nd?
I'm sorry, I had one Thursday off, but still with my kids' schools, I think it would be awesome if their schools are away.
3rd week in January.
Third week in January, that's my conflict.
So that's the 15th.
And I'm in 15 conflict also.
Okay.
So last week of January.
And the last week of January, Mayor Parker has.
Excuse me, it's not the 22nd, it's not the 15th.
So January 29th would be the first meeting when you do your presentation, when the...
If that's what you want, we can do that.
January 20th is a planning board meeting.
How do we work that when they meet in the library?
Or the
Yeah,
executive
they'd have to
session.
move to another location.
Okay. So do we want to move that date because of the planning board, or is that the first meeting, Mark?
We probably should move that. We should probably move that into February too, because it's going to create an issue with the planning board.
Well, the plan, it says that's actually an important meeting, from what I understand, but...
Is that dealing with the Teaneck Road application that we couldn't hear?
29th?
Yes.
Or it may even be a Glen Point. There's uncertainties.
Okay. So can we start budget meetings February 5th?
Yep.
Start the first budget meeting will be February 5th.
Well, there's a conflict on the other days.
I think...
22nd is 29th, everyone those 3 days this month.
Yes, that's what we just said.
Okay. When I was sworn in on July 1st, I basically allocated those Thursday nights in January so that I could have some flexibility. So that I could have some flexibility in February.
I agree. I think I'm fine. Listen, I'm fine if I hate to miss one meeting, but out of 5, if I have to miss one, I'm fine with that. And I'm not, I appreciate everyone's concern, but if I have to miss one meeting, that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, in previous years, we have had at times a single meeting in February. I think after being so far behind the 8 ball last year, we're putting ourselves a month later. We're not even starting work on the budget until February. Yeah. That deeply concerns me.
I think we should keep it as a...
So these are the requirements. The budget has to be adopted by April 24th. So we have until April 24th to adopt the budget. The budget has to be transmitted to the council by the manager by February 12th, and the budget has to be introduced by March 13th or the next meeting after. So those are the requirements.
Can you give those dates again? I'm sorry.
So the manager statutorily is required to give the council the budget by February 12th. The council has to introduce the budget by March 13th or the next meeting. The council has to adopt the budget by April 24th or the next meeting. So we have until April 24th or the next meeting immediately after to adopt the budget.
And we have those dates, so that it would be from March 13th, that would be the meeting of March 24th, and from April 24th, that would push us to approval of the budget by May 5th.
And let me just add, I wanted to discuss this with the council, and I guess we should keep it in this discussion. Usually I provide the council with the budget in December with no revenue numbers. I've spoken to the CFO. We're going to be able to have those revenue numbers a lot earlier, have them in January. I'd like to give the council the entire package in January. So we'll have revenue numbers. We'll know, this is the increase or decrease that we're talking about with an entire package.
You're saying you're saying we should wait a few weeks so we can start the whole package instead of the usual hypothetical. I love that if we can do. That's what you're saying, right?
Well, I'm saying that I'm fine with, if we want to move the 15th and start on the 29th, I'm fine with that.
And you'll have the end of the year numbers by then, you're saying?
Yes, I'll have all the end of the year numbers, probably maybe the second week or so in January.
So I think that's worth the delay. That's what I'm saying. I think that's worth the delay to get the actuals instead of the hypotheticals.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't. Okay. We have someone here who's looking for an endorsement resolution.
We're submitting 3 proposals to the county, and we are required by the county for these resolutions, for these proposals to be approved by the town. Excuse me?
Yeah. Yeah, it's not necessary to give us, you spent the time here, so if you'd like to, we'll be happy.
To do anything, I just
Okay.
want the resolutions. Do you want me to present anything?
No.
Give it to the clerk.
In the future, Jamie, when these are on, they need to be put in the beginning of the agenda.
Not only that, isn't there a way we can, when somebody's looking for endorsing resolution?
No, absolutely not, because I'm not going to rubber stamp endorsing resolutions. Each one has its own merits. There's some resolutions over the years that I absolutely was against. I'm not against the Jewish Family Services resolutions. We've done that in the past, and they're a very good organization. But I won't.
So why don't we just move that so she can go home?
Okay. What I will say is this. I think for organizations that repeatedly come before us, like Jewish Family Services, like Shelter Our Sisters, I don't believe that they should have to come before us again. I make a motion that for organizations that we have supported for 5 years or more.
A memo was fine, right?
Yeah. It makes, and I apologize. Yes. Yes. Unless it's a new application.
That's reasonable.
And thank you very much.
If we can just go back to the budget, well, I think what the manager's saying, every budget season we have a problem, which we're talking hypotheticals.
Yeah,
and he's saying if we start a few weeks late, we can have actuals. That's worth our delay. I think that's the struggle we've always had every year. And if it means 3 weeks to work on actuals, and for the new council members, I think you know the frustration. It's incredible to get that.
So can we begin January 29th?
We can begin January 29th, but we have to remember that it would be the 29th, the 5th. We're not here on the 12th. That's a holiday. Lincoln's birthday,
You want to extend for 15?
then the 19th and the 26th.
I'd like to make a motion to
I
extend
second that,
the meeting for 15 minutes.
Second.
I'd like, and so we don't have to get in a position to, because there's a lot that I make a motion that we extend till midnight with the hopes that we'll get out in 15 minutes.
second.
Yes.
Councilmember Hamidine?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Katz?
Yes.
Councilmember Pruitt?
Yes.
Councilmember Schwartz? Yes. Councilmember Son?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes. Okay, so we have those dates. Do you have those noted?
Can you repeat the
I
motion?
will- I'll-
No,
yes.
but we have to adopt it, so.
Okay, so the first date for budget will be the 29th of January, the 5th of February, the 19th of February, and the 26th of February.
And the second regular meeting in January. What do you want to do?
The second regular meeting in January, do you want to move that to the 28th?
It's a
What do you say?
I
Wednesday.
don't know.
I'll be on vacation, so make them whenever you want. I'll be there.
The 28th is okay?
I'll be here.
That's fine.
Okay.
And what was the first date?
First
The
budget,
27th.
Oh, January
The
13th.
27th was the first date.
29th was the first budget.
No, the regular.
The regular meeting is
January 13th.
January 13th and January 28th.
So then, January 6th, can we add the closed session meeting for the evaluation? No, well, it was the 13th before we saw the schedule. Does that work for everybody, January 6th? For,
January 6th, we will need a closed session for evaluation of the manager.
yes. No.
Time? What's the time?
7 o'clock? Okay. Yeah, so I make an amendment to reflect the changes that we just discussed, if the clerk can read those into the record.
Okay, so we are going to change on resolution saying.
Can I have a second?
A second.
Second.
Councilmember Castle?
Yes.
Councilmember Hamidine?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Katz?
Yes.
Councilmember Pruitt?
Yes.
Councilmember Schwartz?
Yes.
Councilmember Sullivan?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes.
Do you want me to just go over the changes, or
Huh?
go over the changes?
Yes.
Okay, so the budget meetings will,
We didn't adopt it, right? We just amended it.
well, I had a motion for you to move state, and it's my understanding that the motion to
So we
move is
don't have to
also
vote on it again?
No, you don't have to vote on it.
Okay, so, and just Councilman Son, just for the record, I work full-time, and sometimes I have commitments for work, and I don't have flexibility to change my schedule, so. Would someone like to move Resolution D?
I'll move it.
Second. Very, very simply on Resolution D, I think it was worth bringing up for discussion the fact that the official newspapers for the township were going to be both the state and the county papers. I just wanted that on the record because it had been different beyond that in past years. But by making those the official newspapers, it allows us to cast a wider net for public announcements and so on and so forth. And because that's been a complaint in the past, I thought it was worth mentioning so that the public could hear.
Councilmember Castle?
Yes.
Councilmember Hamidine?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Katz?
Yes. I mean, I'm just confused, but yes to what was
Yeah.
being
Resolution
proposed.
day.
Okay.
He wanted to highlight the change.
Okay, Councilmember
Says.
Pruitt? Councilmember Schwartz?
Stay.
Councilmember Sullivan?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes. Someone like to move Resolution I?
Yes.
Second?
The only aspect of Resolution I at our
I did.
at our retreat,
The deputy mayor had an idea that I thought was great. If we were going to do something like this, that we do it on a trial basis, or that we, kind of say, let's see what the impact would be. I think there has to be an end result. If we're going to make good and welfare, let's say 60 minutes, or we're going to stick to 60 minutes.
Councilman Kessel, excuse me for 1 second. Is there a reason why Brian is still here? Not that I don't want to see you, but if we're paying you, I don't know if we need you. Okay. Thank you.
I just think that we should be...
We're about to bring up personnel now that we're off the books.
If we are going to entertain the idea of limiting good and welfare to 3 minutes, there's got to be something that we're accomplishing with that, and I think that that's where the public is somewhat... they're questioning what that is. So I'm not in support of limiting good and welfare, but if it's a means to an end, if we're actually accomplishing something, if it's something to the effect of what Councilman Zone said, where we're limiting input to 3 minutes so that we can respond immediately for 2 minutes, and we keep that 5-minute block, I'm in support of something like that. But I don't think that we should just limit good and welfare to 3 minutes. I'd like to see some type of 2-minute response.
I think the give and take is that we actually are limiting the council response to the 3 minutes as well, which should hopefully cut back on some of the meeting time, which will accomplish goals of getting the entire meeting into the block of time that we have for council.
Are you no longer in favor of just the temporary aspect? Because you had presented...
The answer is it's all temporary, meaning there's nothing here set in stone. It's being done as a resolution and not as an ordinance, and that was done by design specifically so that we could reevaluate. Listen, we're not going to reevaluate tomorrow because we know that the 6 people in the room who are going to complain about it are going to complain about it for the next couple of meetings. But we'll see how it works. But it's an attempt to also... I'm sure just like we're frustrated sometimes at the residents that are speaking about the same thing over and over, I'm pretty sure that they're frustrated at us sometimes that we're speaking over and over. And I think this is very equitable, and hopefully it will create a better outcome for everybody where we keep our remarks brief. Let's get to the point. Let's do the residents' business. Let's hear from the masses, and let's move on.
I'd just like to make a point. When we discussed this at the retreat, there was unanimous support for it. I'm not exactly sure what happened to that, but we all agreed that in order to make our meetings more efficient, that we would try this for a while. So I'd like to move it forward towards a vote, and we can reevaluate it in 3 months.
I just want to say, Mayor, there was not unanimous support for it, because I know I didn't support it. I brought up a couple of other changes that I wanted to talk about. And just the only thing, if Councilman Hamid had stated his support for Teaneck Southern in a back and forth after Mr. Hernandez, I believe it was, spoke, I don't think, Mr. Sanchez spoke, I don't think that we would have had so many people come up and say and speak out against what was happening against Teaneck Southern Little League or their perception.
I disagree.
I think you're both right. If I can just also, I think the only way to try something is to find something good is to try it. It could very well be that Councilman Castle's 100% right, but let's try something new because we got to get to the council listed items. That's where we can really start to make a difference, and I think it's worth a try.
Councilman Song.
Again, I think the other aspect, and Deputy Mayor Katz brought this up, was 3, 3, and 3, that we were going to try this. Deputy Mayor Katz at the retreat had made the suggestion of 3, 3, and 3, that we would try this for 3 meetings on a trial basis, and I would like to suggest that we use the month of January as a trial basis. The other thing I think this is really critical to me is that residents get a response. When people call up customer service and you hear, your call is very important to us, please stay on the line. I know it's not really important to them because if it was, they would have answered it right away. But at least I have the impression that they care, and I'm being given that impression. And I think we need to show our residents that we're actually answering their questions. And if we don't have the time to answer it during good and welfare or immediately after good and welfare, to provide a formal mechanism to be able to have a sign-up sheet and go over to ESA and say, here's my phone number, here's my email address, and that we can close the loop. And if people want an answer that they will get an answer. And I think right now that there are too many people who are not getting answers to the questions they're looking for, and I think that is why they keep on showing up and asking the same questions over and over again.
I don't agree. I like to move it to a vote.
I don't think they agree.
I like to move it to a vote.
All right, for resolution I have a motion on the floor. A second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Hamidine? I'm sorry, Councilmember Castle?
No.
Councilmember Hamidine?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Katz?
Yes.
Councilmember Pruitt?
Yes.
Councilmember Schwartz?
Yes.
No.
Mayor?
Yes.
Okay, resolution N.
What are the resolutions we're called?
Resolution N.
I'd move it for the purpose of discussion.
Second. The only reason that resolution N was pulled is it relates to the furniture contract for the old police building, and I'd like to give the manager an opportunity to kind of talk about that because I understand we did not go with the highest bid. We didn't. If you could just give some clarity on that particular resolution, the cost of the furniture and so on and so forth, I think it would be beneficial to the public.
The cost of the furniture. The furniture has been a long project. We've been working on the furniture in the building probably since January of 2014. I've, along with the clerk of the works that we have working on the facility and monitoring the facility with us, we visited New York City showrooms of the various furniture vendors. And we made a determination that the most reasonably priced furniture with the best guarantee is the Hahn brand of furniture. We've also had an excellent experience with Hahn furniture because we purchased Hahn furniture for the police department and it's held up well. And on many of their products, they have a lifetime guarantee. And we think we get great value out of it. Hahn products are also on state contract, and we were able to purchase these items, or will be able to purchase these items under the state contract at a significant discount to the regular price.
I'd like to move resolution N.
Second.
Councilmember Castle?
Just for consistency, I'm voting no because it's part of the overreach for the building, so no, but I'm sure it has the votes to carry.
Councilmember Hamidine?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Katz?
Yes.
Councilmember Pruitt?
Yes.
Councilmember Schwartz?
Yes.
Councilmember Swan?
No.
Mayor?
Yes.
Resolution V.
I'd like to move resolution V.
Second.
Resolutions V, W, and X.
Can you move them all?
Yes. Can I move V, W, and X? I'd like to move V, W, and X.
Second, VWX.
The only reason VW and X, when you add up all the numbers together, it does equal $1.8 million. And it was said, by Mr. Powers, Dr. Powers, that 1.8 keeps coming up. Back in August, we had a conversation about cutting the budget for $1.8 million. We didn't give any specificity. We just said we'd like for the manager to do it. And it seems here that we've been able to find $1.8 million in accounts that it's not going to be used to pay for other things. And I just thought I'd like to really to kind of understand how we couldn't find $1.8 million in the past, but now we found $1.8 million to transfer across accounts.
And I'd like to follow up on that as well. Just going back to an issue that Dr. Powers raised, not only do we need to be exercising the functions of having the planning board go through our capital projects, I think we need to do something that's in our best practices. Question number 29 of the best practices says that in preparing your annual budget for the current year, it is important that the impact that current budgeting decisions have need to be considered. Question number 28 says, in preparing your annual budget, are you planning for surplus in upcoming years? We answered yes to both of those questions, and to the best of my knowledge, I have never seen a township council do that. We have 3 resolutions here, resolutions V, W, and X, that magically find $1.8 million in a budget, where we had no idea that we were running low, that we had, when we asked the question, Councilman Castle had asked a question about having available funds in capital projects. We was told there was nothing available. Now there is $400,000 available. In Resolution W, we have magically found $900,000 from tax appeals and group insurance that we should have known in August we were going to be under, although I will grant for tax appeals too. In Resolution X, we transfer $579,000 between funds, including one of the issues that very specifically Councilmember Castle raised about police over budgeting. We need to have better understanding of where our money is, what we are spending, what we are not spending, and what our surplus is, and to have this every year, year after year, come up magically in December and all of a sudden appear as if from heaven is a holiday miracle that has to stop. We have to start having an understanding of what our funding is, what our numbers are, and we can't possibly prepare a budget in January or February if we don't know what we really are spending, what we're really not spending.
I like to move V, W, and X.
Look, can I add a comment? Every year, including in 2015, we're going to create a budget. Our budget is an estimate of what we expect to spend. Every year, we're going to wind up, or we should, and we should be proud that we wind up with additional funds and that we are not winding up with an emergency where we need to borrow money from the next year. We do not know exactly what each of our costs is going to be when we do the budget. We know at the end of the year whether or not we have additional funds. We can tell you in November or December if there's going to be additional funds. Now, after we worked on a myriad of projects and the CFO reviews the capital fund as a result of the budgetary process, she looks at items, discusses it with the engineer, discusses it with Public Works, and we make a determination if there's additional funds left in these projects after we've worked on these projects, and if any of these items can be canceled to go into capital surplus to support the budget and provide tax relief for the following year. We do it every single year. The reason for us canceling items, which we knew very well early in the beginning of the year, that if we did not fill certain positions, that it would be possible for us to cancel items to make that money available for the 2015 budget. That's what we're doing in some of the cancellations, is making it available in the 2015 budget and not allowing it to roll over into the 2016 budget so that we can provide the council with some additional flexibility in 2015, where we believe will be the most difficult budget for us to hold down any tax increase. That is what we're doing. We're going to have the same issue next year.
Yeah.
We're going to make an estimate, a guesstimate of what we are going to spend in April. That's what we're doing with the budget. We don't know exactly, and we should not take the risk that we're not going to have enough money. We need enough money to run this town, and we should not put ourselves in a position where we will have an emergency and have to borrow money from the next year. We've never had that experience, and we should not start now. We've budgeted prudently.
Yeah.
And I will stand on this all the time. It's no magical number that we've come up with $1.8 million. It has nothing to do with the $1.8 million that the council requested that I cut.
Mr. Manager, we got it. Thank you.
Can I respond? I get a little bit, let's say, disturbed when people run around and they find a number and they say, I told you that number was there. I don't care about that. The surplus that we're talking about is still less than the surplus should be for a township with this kind of a budget. It's less than we should have. So I think we should stop grousing over it, pass the resolution, and move on before midnight.
I disagree. In best
I'd like
practice,
to
in
move
best practice number
resolution
28,
U, V, and W.
in best practice number 28, we say that in developing said surplus policy, your CFO should analyze and explain a 5-year trend of surplus. And we answered yes to that question.
Roll call.
We do not dishonestly do that, and I think we don't even know what 1 year is.
Roll call.
Councilmember Gassel?
No.
Councilmember Hamidi-Dean?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Katz?
Yes.
Councilmember Pruitt?
Yes.
Councilmember Schwartz? Councilmember Song?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes. We'd like to introduce ordinances.
You'll be okay. You just gotta go. I'll tell you. I make up my own.
Jamie, did we ever appoint a chief to the Board of Adjustment? We did? Okay. While we're talking, I'd like to nominate Pat D'Onofrio and Larry Bauer to the Let's Move Task Force.
Okay.
Are there any other nominations at this time? Let's Move
Yes.
Task Force. Are there any?
I need, just really quick under new business, I have recommendations for appointments by Chairperson Raskakis for Hackensack River Greenway Advisory Board. Those people are listed, the residents and their addresses. I just need consent from council to list an appointing resolution on January 13th.
Let's introduce the ordinances first.
Okay. All right. Ordinance 47, 2014, an ordinance amending Division 2, roadways of Article 2, excavation in public ways of Chapter 14, excavations and soil removal of the Code of the Township of Teaneck pertaining to excavations within public roadways, streets, parks, or public places, and permits for public utilities. Ordinance number 48-2014, an ordinance amending Section 36-14.1 entitled All Vehicles Except those vehicles with a valid handicapped parking placard or license plate between 10 a.m. and 12 noon, except Saturdays, Sundays, and holidays of Division 2, prohibited parking of Article 2 parking of Chapter 36 entitled Traffic of the Code of the Township of Teaneck to add both sides of Voorhees Street between Teaneck Road and Van Cortlandt Terrace. Ordinance number 49-2014, an ordinance amending Appendix 3 of Chapter 2 of the Township Code entitled Charter Administrative Code relating to fees for the solemnization of marriages and civil union ceremonies by the Township Mayor or Deputy Mayor when authorized by the Mayor. I just need a motion to introduce.
I'll make the motion.
A second.
Second.
Councilman Casso?
Yes.
Councilmember Hamidi-Dean?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Katz?
Yes, with an abstention on 49.
Councilmember Pruitt is... Councilmember Schwartz?
Yes.
Councilmember Stone?
Yes.
Mayor?
Abstention on 49.
Madam Mayor, just quickly under old business, the tree ordinance.
Yes, I also, tree ordinance, and I also want us to deal with the Environmental Commission as
All right,
well.
so I'll be less than 30 seconds, maybe a minute. At the last zoning subcommittee meeting, we spoke about the tree ordinance. Oh, no, we didn't speak about the tree ordinance. I spoke to the township attorney and I spoke to the township manager about our tree ordinance. It has some language in there that requires a certified arborist. This has caused a difficulty and a higher expense for the residents, and not only that, the tree people that we know that are in Teaneck, the Kodiaks, the cut above the rest, the Vals, all don't comply. So the manager would like to put in some recommendations that he'll propose in an ordinance in the next council meeting where he can address that.
Yes.
Mr. Manager, did I say okay? Good?
Sounds good.
Are there new business or...
We'll carry establishing name policy, and I'd like to nominate the appointments to the Hackensack River
Second.
Greenway, as well as the Teaneck Municipal Alliance Substance Abuse as listed on the agenda.
Okay.
Did the senior citizens get passed yet?
I believe so. Yes,
They
they
were
did.
good.
But I think we do need to come up with a better way to add members to boards and commissions, especially those that are not statutory, where we don't have a limit on the number of members, where a board chair and the board chair and the council liaison can...
We did that already.
Yeah, but to make sure that all the commissions know that, apparently they don't.
Well, the board chair doesn't make the decision, the liaison is the person that makes the decision, so it's really, we still have to agree to it. With that, just speaking about advisory boards, the Youth Advisory Board held its retreat at Fairleigh Dickinson, and I'm not sure if I reported on this publicly, but I would like a letter of thank you to go to FDU to thank Craig Morton for his time, for it to be addressed to the president. I also would like a thank you letter to go to Councilman Wayne Hamer, as well as the engineer, and I'll get his name, in Inglewood, for hosting us in Inglewood at our October meeting. With that said, I've spoken to the manager. We, the Youth Advisory Board, have assigned 3 students that are going to be working on developing a youth website, and it was recommended that we provide a stipend to them to develop it. It would not be use of public money. It would be donations that were specially allocated to the Youth Advisory Board through donations from the police department. But I need consent from council to do that. It would be no more than $10, 10 hours at minimum wage. Manager, we also would like to know, if possible, during this winter break, if we can find some time for Vince, if he's available, to meet with them.
Absolutely. I already spoke to him.
Okay, but not after school. It would be during the day, because they'd be out of school.
During winter break?
Winter break. Okay, all right. So is that okay for council to move forward with the allocation of that money? Again, non-taxpayer dollars. Environment, yes, we have to deal with them. And Michael Raghavan has been here. Yes, it was last meeting. So we received communication. We understand. We hear your frustration. Mr. Manager, can you give us an update as to what the status is in providing new, actually, I'll let the liaison speak to it. We
need new members for the Environmental Commission that are appointed by the manager. We also need an update on the bike and pedestrian plan.
New members to be appointed by the manager. I will have a meeting with Mr. Raghavan. I'll set up a meeting with him. I was supposed to set that meeting up. I'll set it up in January, and I will try to locate new members that I can appoint to the Environmental Commission. Also, the bicycle and pedestrian plan, I think that's something that we need to discuss in our budget deliberations, because there could be a financial impact to implementing those plans. So we need to have a discussion about that.
Okay, so if we can get that meeting done, I mean, I don't know if I'm not going to be here between the 3rd and the 15th of January. I don't know if Michael wants to proceed with just the mayor and the township manager to get it done earlier. Yes. Yes. Okay. So if you guys want to meet earlier, if you guys can set that up so that he can go over his concerns. I know the frustration of the board is they need members appointed.
They're also looking, they don't feel that their tools are being valued by the council, that we're not recommending projects or seeking their input on environmental issues in town. And that's something that we can discuss also, how we can make you feel like your talents are being used. We do value the time that you commit to the board. And that's basically all I have to say about that. Is there anything on the agenda that we have to get done?
Just for the council listed items for Councilman Hamadudin, is there a reason that they can't use the bus stops to drop off the senior citizens? Like, can we put an extra sign on especially the ones that are chairs?
I don't know what you mean.
Cedar Lane, the classic residents or 5-star have asked for many years that they bring a shuttle to Cedar Lane. But when they try to park in front of like the movie theater, then the police, honk them, whatever it is. can we designate one on each side, one bus stop on each side, where they can also even put a little sign, they can also drop off their.
Yeah, I don't think anyone would have an issue with them going to the bus stop at Cedar and Elm.
All right,
It's a very large bus stop.
All right, are we able to make up little placards, like senior van drop-off area?
I don't know, I think, Ellie, can you contact Five Star and Classic and ask them, how they would like to do it and then report back to council, I guess? Because they've been wanting to do this for a few years now. The residents would like to come.
Five Star, and who else, I'm sorry?
Classic residents.
They reported on it.
It's the same thing.
Stand under new business, Teaneck versus Haas. What action do you need from us tonight? Okay, contract proposal for Gian Ficaro Architects.
We discussed that. Council's authorized me to move forward, and I'll have a contract prepared by the attorney and a resolution prepared for the next meeting.
You have 4 minutes to do your manager's report.
I have a question on B. Okay, I have 4 minutes. It's not good. Sorry. I'm using up my minutes. All right, Cedar Lane Streetscape. Cedar Lane Streetscape, I've walked Cedar Lane Streetscape with several council members. I've walked it with Councilman Castle, Councilman Sohn, I think Dr. Pruitt and I don't know if we've walked it. Ellie and I have walked it. So we have a little movement on Cedar Lane Streetscape. Okay, so what we've done is, and this was a suggestion from Councilman Sohn recently, and Councilman Castle as well. We've moved some of the planters that we have. We located some planters. We've taken some of the planters and we've put them in some of those areas where the trees are missing. We went recently to Home Depot, bought some other plants to put in those planters, so we're able to cover some of those areas. And most of the cones should be out tomorrow, and we'll have those areas covered, and the cones will be able to be removed. That's the temporary plan. Moving forward in a more permanent fix, the timeline for the repairs are as follows. On January 16th, the project plans that the engineer needs to prepare will be ready. The engineer needs to prepare plans for the installation of new grates. There's over 50 grates, tree grates that need to be replaced on Cedar Lane, and there's some sidewalk issues. So he's got to prepare that to go out to bid. By January 25th, we're going to advertise the project for bidding. February 17th, we're going to receive bids. March 2015, award the contract. April 15th, start of construction. And June 30th, 2015, the project should be complete. So that's a timeline for moving forward on the streetscape. Right now, my intention is to take it out of our road resurfacing fund in order to get it done.
Are we billing Cedar Lane Improvement District?
That's an issue that I'll have to talk to the attorney about again to see if we can.
It all depends. If you build it into their budget, you have to approve their budget. You could pass the law before, you have to put it in their budget when you approve their budget.
The cost of it.
Okay, but so I think if they're paying for it, they should be part of the process so that they know what they're paying for. But I absolutely believe that they should be paying for it.
I disagree. I think we did the job. It was not done correctly. I don't think we should be billing them twice for the work.
We didn't do the job.
A question, Mr. Brown. The parking lot across the street from the recreation center, looks like you're redoing that? The one on the railroad track?
Yeah, the one on the railroad tracks, I've spoken to the engineer about it.
Mr. Manager, we have exhausted our time. We would have to adopt another extension. No.
Oh, I'm really done, I guess.
Do you have to report on your appointment? You didn't?
Just a appointment, I've provisionally appointed Adam Mirska to the position of Assistant Zoning Officer with the Teaneck Building Department effective December 1st, 2014.
Thank you. I'd just like to take this opportunity to thank you all. It has been an interesting 6 months as mayor, and I look forward to working with you all in 2015. Have a happy new year, and good night. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All in favor?
Second, can I make a motion to leave the microphone on and let Dr. Rasheen speak for 5 minutes?
6 hours. So what we started talking about.